Ready. Play.
But regarding this incident, do you have a viewpoint? Was Musetti lucky not to get defaulted?
The first person I thought of was Djokovic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Courier said something, Jim Courier said something on the American broadcast that I did not know. And that is that the rule is that the person, the, ball kid, lines person, fan who was on the receiving end of the contact had to have been injured in some way in order for the default to occur.
Okay.
So I had not heard that. I had no idea about that rule. I'd have to look.
A bit strange to me. I mean,
right. I'd have to look that up in the code of conduct to see if that is correct. That being said, if you zoom out and you say, did the right outcome occur, which was he was given a warning, and he did not have to default the match. Imagine the inverse had happened. He had to default the match. Is that the right outcome for what occurred?
I mean, first of all, it does depend on that rule. But secondly, I think it's, he talks about obviously not intending to do it, but much like a drink driver or, even a speeding driver doesn't necessarily intend to cause a car accident. You've sort of done an action, haven't you, that is liable and putting that as a possibility afterwards. So as much as I want to watch a 4-set tennis match and I want to see the better player in the semi-finals, I probably think he is a bit lucky.
Yes, lucky. He's definitely lucky. That he is. And hopefully he learns his lesson from that. And, what's interesting is that at Roland Garros, famously or infamously, there's a lot of people on court because they have the lines people when pretty much every other tournament now does not. So you really have to adjust where you're tossing balls, hitting balls, flinging things. And you have to really pull yourself in and have that kind of self-control.
It was interesting. Djokovic was asked in a press conference a few days ago about whether he was a fan of electronic line calling or the more traditional line judges. He weighed up the argument. He said he was, not vehemently one way or another, but he probably did slightly more towards electronic line calling. And one of the reasons was just to have less people on court. Yeah. And my mind started going back to that US Open default he had in 2020, wasn't it? Of course. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on.
Ready. Play.
That's into the net on his first serve. Second serve here for Tommy Paul to look at. Backhand return from Tommy Paul. Backhand to backhand right now. Alcaraz on the attack. Comes into the net. Is he going to put this volley away? He is. 40-love for 3 match points. Carlos Alcaraz serving for the match here. Now has 3 match points. Will he convert on the first one? Alcaraz into the backhand of Tommy Paul. Forehand. Alcaraz. Forehand winner. Alcaraz wins. 6-love. 6-1. 6-4. And lays down a marker for the rest of the players in this tournament, including Jannik Sinner, albeit that Jannik is on the other half of the draw. Carlos Alcaraz goes through in 1 hour and 34 minutes. That last set was the longest of the 3 today. It was both 10 games, but also 38 minutes. Alcaraz, with a thumb in the air, takes the applause and will play Lorenzo Musetti in the semi-final. On Friday. It will be the first semi-final, almost certainly. He applauds Tommy Paul off. There were some suggestions of a groin injury for Tommy, but let me tell you this. This was another level from Carlos Alcaraz. Another level than anything we've seen, I think, this year from the boy. His best match of the year, no doubt about it. Puts him in the semi-finals. Just to talk you through the match, Alcaraz just came out the blocks flying. and won that first set 6-love. Incredible level. I think it was one point in the early stage of the match when he had 19 winners, I think at the end of the first set, and 12 unforced errors. Just an incredible ratio, that, of winners to unforced errors. Let's see what's going on in the Twitter sphere. Alcaraz defeats Paul 6-love, 6-1, 6-4. Wow, 1 hour and 32 minutes, at least according to that. The tennis letter, third consecutive Roland Garros semi-final, 12 consecutive wins at Roland Garros. 22 years old for the defending champion. It's also his 7th Grand Slam semi-final. What else is going on in the Twitter sphere? Let's see, lots more gushing praise, I imagine, for the Spaniard. Let's see what else is being said. Carlos Alcaraz is the youngest player to reach 7 semi-finals in men's singles Grand Slam since Rafa Nadal 2008. So yeah, it's talking about the perfect level.
Yeah, it was I could close my eyes and everything went in.
Yeah, I could close my eyes and everything was going in.
It was unbelievable. It was, I was trying to hit, every shot at 100%, no matter what, not thinking about anything else, just hitting forward. And yeah, today it was one of those matches that everything went in. So I just pleased with everything.
Just everything just went in today. I could have closed my eyes and just dreamed perhaps, and they would still have gone in.
Tommy, you had some tough matches with Tommy. Did it help you that Tommy is a tough player?
Yeah.
For the final of a Grand Slam of Roland Garros, I mean, this kind of match is never easy. I played against Tommy many times, and the match was really difficult. He beat me twice, so that helped me at the beginning of the match just to focus on my tennis, try to step on the court, really focus on my things, try not to go down or let him get into the match again. I was trying to be focused during the whole match, so I think I tried, but yeah, as you said, Tommy's an unbelievable player, so that helped me a lot from today.
Yeah, and there you go. Tommy, just being a formidable opponent, also helped him remain focused, he says.
How does that feel? What does it mean to you?
Yep, third semi-final in a row, I think.
This tournament is so special to me. Every time that I come here, every year feels special. Before the tournament began, I was thinking that I really want to go further in this tournament, just to feel the energy from the people, match after match. So I'm just really happy to be in the semi-final again, third time in a row. So I just try to enjoy this moment and hopefully keep going.
There you go. Keep going indeed. Lorenzo Musetti lies next in wait. Can he stop the Carlos Alcaraz from powering on into the final? That is for Friday, probably the first match. For now, big thanks for joining. And to everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play. Ready?
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are tuning in from. Amy, are you on the East Coast of the US?
Yes, I am, near New York City.
So is it 4:22 p.m. where you are?
It is. Very good.
Of the 3 non-US Grand Slams, which is the easiest and which is the most difficult to tune into, bearing in mind time of day and all the rest of it?
It has to be Australia, although I'm a very early riser, so I can shift it even earlier and get up at 4 a.m. and, get some really good tennis between 4 a.m. and, and then it comes on again in the evening. So it's not bad. None of them are bad, but Australia is the hardest.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Australia also, I think, where I am in Europe as well, is the most difficult. New York is not too bad. It starts around about sort of 5, 6 o'clock here in the evening, and so you get the day session certainly, and have some fun there. But yeah, Australia is a nightmare for many of us tennis watchers. Well, also a nightmare was what Tommy Paul had to endure this evening, for two reasons. One, because Carlos Alcaraz was at his explosive best. And two, he also was suffering from what was a groin injury. Did you understand that he would have actually not played the match, but for, not wanting to, let down, obviously, the watching audience?
His coach says that, look, Tommy was going to go out there no matter what. That's just
Okay.
the kind of guy he is. So I took that to mean that other circumstances were it not a Grand Slam, he might not have gone out there. He also has a grade 1 abdominal tear. So he's got like two things going on. And Wimbledon's coming up, Queens where he's won. So he's got to actually just get healthy and get right.
Indeed. All right, let's hone in on Carlos Alcaraz first of all. Probably not a huge surprise to see him in this semi-finals, but I do think his level, irrespective of Tommy's health today, was just off the charts. There was a stat at one point, I think at the end of the first set, he'd hit 19 winners and 12 unforced errors, which is just an amazing ratio of double almost winners to unforced errors. And I also think a fully fit Tommy Paul, yes, it might have been more competitive. We might have had a 3 close set match rather than what was comfortable for 2 of those sets. But Alcaraz, some of the shot making again, even by his standards, I thought was off the charts today.
Yes, he looked very sharp, and he actually needed a shorter match because he's had some 4-setters.
Yeah.
So, and Sinner, this is looking ahead if he does play Sinner in the final. There's the age-old question of rested versus tested, and he was pushing up against a lot of time on court. I think over 10 hours going into this match. So he needed an easy straight set win.
I think he's been nicely tested, particularly that Ben Shelton match in the previous round en route to. So him having, as you say, probably a good idea that he wasn't tested too much. The rested and tested thing, I love it. You want to have a nice balance between the two. Always remember Rafa Nadal lamenting the fact that he probably wasn't quite tested enough en route to the Australian Open final of 2019. I think he was also coming back from an injury, so he also didn't have a huge amount of reps. But you also don't want to be in Tommy Paul's situation where you're playing back-to-back 5-setters that eventually catch up on you. So for Alcaraz to have had, those 3 4-setters against Marozsan, Jamur, and then Shelton especially was a really good test because it was a really, could easily have been 5. I still think Alcaraz would have emerged the winner one way or another, but that was a great test for him. So it was great that he could trim the court time average at least today in that straight sets win. And yeah, I just think there was an air of inevitability today. And even when his mind would go wandering, there was still an inevitability that he would eventually make the semifinals one way or another. I'm guessing you feel the same, Amy?
Yes. Pre-tournament, I picked him to win the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I stand by that. I mean, why not? Yeah. He's looked really good. His speed has been really good. Serve has looked pretty good. Return has looked its usual amazing self. I think he's had a variety of conditions to play in, sometimes hot and dry, sometimes heavy and humid, day, night. So I think he's ready.
With it being a 15-day tournament as well, it's nice. He'll get 3 days off before his semi-final. Will almost certainly be the first one. Obviously slightly different if you play on the Wednesday, as the other quarterfinals will have to do. Regarding Lorenzo Musetti, maybe not as inevitable at the beginning of the tournament, but with every match win he was getting, he was backing up what has been a very impressive clay court season. His route to the final has included straight sets wins over Hanfmann and Galan before dropping a set against Navoni and then understandably against Holger Rune. Also dropped a set today, Lorenzo. What did you make of his win, particularly over Francis? And of course, he did get away with a little misdemeanor, didn't he?
Yes. Let's talk about just the tennis during the points first.
Sure.
He played a very disciplined match, and Tiafoe did not play quite as it. Tiafoe's discipline and willingness to just trade ground strokes has improved, but it still is not at that elite level that Musetti's is. So, Musetti does not have a great serve. He doesn't have a power serve. He's got a nice kick second serve, which he used today, but he needs to rely on his speed, on his power forehand, on his ability to vary up spins and pace. He did that beautifully today. And to only drop a set against Tiafoe was a really good showing.
Indeed. I do think that Francis also did pretty well in a way to get back into the match after what was a pretty poor set. He steadied himself and started serving really well. But regarding this incident, do you have a viewpoint? Was Musetti lucky not to get defaulted?
The first person I thought of was Djokovic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Courier said something, Jim Courier said something on the American broadcast that I did not know. And that is that the rule is that the person, the, ball kid, lines person, fan who was on the receiving end of the contact had to have been injured in some way in order for the default to occur.
Okay.
So I had not heard that. I had no idea about that rule. I'd have to look.
A bit strange to me. I mean,
right. I'd have to look that up in the code of conduct to see if that is correct. That being said, if you zoom out and you say, did the right outcome occur, which was he was given a warning, and he did not have to default the match. Imagine the inverse had happened. He had to default the match. Is that the right outcome for what occurred?
I mean, first of all, it does depend on that rule. But secondly, I think it's, he talks about obviously not intending to do it, but much like a drink driver or, even a speeding driver doesn't necessarily intend to cause a car accident. You've sort of done an action, haven't you, that is liable and putting that as a possibility afterwards. So as much as I want to watch a 4-set tennis match and I want to see the better player in the semi-finals, I probably think he is a bit lucky.
Yes, lucky. He's definitely lucky. That he is. And hopefully he learns his lesson from that. And, what's interesting is that at Roland Garros, famously or infamously, there's a lot of people on court because they have the lines people when pretty much every other tournament now does not. So you really have to adjust where you're tossing balls, hitting balls, flinging things. And you have to really pull yourself in and have that kind of self-control.
It was interesting. Djokovic was asked in a press conference a few days ago about whether he was a fan of electronic line calling or the more traditional line judges. He weighed up the argument. He said he was, not vehemently one way or another, but he probably did slightly more towards electronic line calling. And one of the reasons was just to have less people on court. Yeah. And my mind started going back to that US Open default he had in 2020, wasn't it? Of course. Anyway, it is what it is. Lorenzo Musetti, though, in terms of his level during the clay court season, I just want to remind everyone what I'm sort of talking about. He's been a bit of a bridesmaid in terms of making the semi-finals in Rome, semi-finals in Madrid before losing to Jack Draper there, a final in Monte Carlo against Carlos Alcaraz. And that is, of course, who he's going to be playing on Friday. What are your thoughts on this particular matchup?
I think the head-to-head is 5-1 in favor of Alcaraz. It's not in many of the stat categories and many, not just stats, but many of the areas of tennis. Musetti is just a slightly less adept version of Carlitos. So if you take like returning, Alcaraz is probably, I think he's number 2 overall in the ATP returning metrics, second only to de Minaur. Musetti is probably top 20. You know what I mean? Serving, neither one of them have a power serve or a great serve, but Alcaraz's is probably statistically in all the major stat categories just a little bit better than Lorenzo is. Speed. They're both incredible movers, but Alcaraz is just a little bit faster. Alcaraz has better volleys. Alcaraz has a better drop shot. So it's like if you're
5 sets as well. Alcaraz over 5 sets.
Yeah.
His
So
durability, I mean, sorry.
yes. So if you're a fan of Italian tennis, and shout, many of you guys are, you're just looking for some area where Musetti would have an edge. I've looked at conditions. I think it's going to be rainy. I think that the roof might be closed.
Okay.
Now at Chatrier, there's ventilation, there's air coming in. The roof is more like an umbrella. So it's not as it's not like the US Open when they close Arthur Ashe and it's like stuffy in there. But still, you got to think that it's going to be heavier, more humid conditions. I don't know who that would benefit.
I think it might just take something, just to sort of, actually, if anything, might just take something away from Carlos. Maybe not getting quite as much spin on that incredible topspin that he normally has, especially on the forehand side. I just think if you're the underdog to such an extent like Lorenzo is, if you throw in a roof, I don't think it's going to be, defining. I just think it might give 1% sort of towards Lorenzo, and he probably needs every single percent he can get. I don't think we're looking at a chasm between Carlos and Lorenzo like some of the other matchups that Carlos has on tour. He has beaten him on clay, albeit that was in 2022. The match that actually, funny enough, I remember maybe not necessarily the most, but it certainly, as I was reading down this list, was Roland Garros in 23. Because I remember thinking that Musetti going into this, it's just 2 years after he pushed Djokovic to 5 in 21. I started thinking in that particular tournament in the French Open of 23 that Musetti was playing well. I thought it was going to be Alcaraz's first test, and it was anything but 3-2-2. I'm not suggesting that we're going to get the same result on Friday, but I'm probably erring closer to that than a 5-set epic.
Some of the sets, or one or more of the sets, could be a tiebreaker, just like the Rome matchup was. In that sort of situation, you never know. And Carlitos has to think about, he'll say he's not thinking ahead, but he does have to think about what's ahead of him if he does advance in this match. Yeah,
yes, indeed. But which way are you sort of leaning? You don't have to go. You can go sets if you want, but a leaning is also good enough.
I would say Carlitos in 4.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel as though it's sort of 65-35. And when you feel it's 65-35, that feels like 4 sets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If it's 51-49, and there are other matches that are happening in the next few days that are a bit more like that, then you sort of go, this one's going the distance. But anyway, you might be right. There might be a tie break in there as well. And of course, they did play a fairly close match in Rome. Some people were quite critical about the level of that match. But I see Carlos winning this one way or another. Anything else to add on this?
Just in that Rome match, which is a really good kind of barometer because it was so recent. Second serve points won. Musetti only won 28% of his second serve points. That is just so low, rock bottom. Yeah. If you think about like Nadal in his heyday at Roland Garros was winning in the 60% of his second serve points. So to do something special here, he'll have to do better than that.
For those of you listening to that stat thinking, I never thought Rafa was that good on, as a server, and especially on clay, where it obviously slows things down. But what Rafa would do is he'd just dump the ball in and then just dominate from that moment onwards. And then ultimately, it wouldn't necessarily be an outright winner on the serve one way or another, but it would end up getting on that forehand. And that was that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
My name is Zainab Samas, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready. Play.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Very good, Mario. It's been a while since we've been face to face. But
That's true.
yeah, nice
Nice
match to do.
Was it Iga against Madison? Australian Open semi? Probably.
God, maybe, yeah. I've forgotten myself. Yeah, it's been a while. So
Whatever. Hello, everybody. Yeah, we're here for the semi-final between Musetti and Alcaraz at Roland Garros. What are you expecting from this match? I think we got a favorite, but still, that's plenty to be excited about because, you know, even the other player is doing an incredible job lately. So what do you think about it?
yeah, I mean, I'm still ultimately expecting an Alcaraz win, but I suppose what gives me a bit more hope that this could be an interesting match is that, you know, I think Musetti obviously is playing well, but I mean, I think the last match that they played was pretty competitive, although, you know, obviously Alcaraz did come out on top, but yeah, I like in the best of five, I think ultimately that's going to be beneficial for Alcaraz he'll come out on top in the end, but like also maybe gives a chance though for Musetti to, you know, maybe get a set, and then, you know, we can see what sort of happens from there. But I think Musetti's going to have to do something a little bit different tonight if he's going to actually get a result, you know, and move through to the final.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, you mentioned the last match they played against each other. Yeah, it was a competitive one, more than 2 hours for a straight set win. Musetti was a breakup until actually a very kind of late stage. It was 4-2 up in the second set in Rome. It's already the third time they play. Oh, hello.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How are we too? How are you guys? All right?
All good, yeah.
Yes, fine.
Sorry, Mario, I interrupted you mid-flow.
No, I mean, I was just saying that, you know, we have been told, of course, that Alcaraz is a favorite. It is like that, you know, the record in majors especially shows that. But, you know, Musetti has been able, both throughout this clay season, but even when you think about his record in Roland Garros, to be very dangerous, to trouble most players. All of them have played pretty well. They have faced a couple difficulties in their tournaments. They've lost a few sets, but, you know, neither of them has been really close to lose at any point so far, as actually even, you know, Djokovic and Sinner later. So, you know, I think the 4 semifinalists are, I would say, the two best players in the world. Djokovic, we can consider him, especially in Grand Slams, another of the three best players in the world. And on this surface, I cannot think about more than three players who are better than Musetti. So I think, when we think about clay, I think we are, at the four best players in the world right now on this surface. So, there's plenty to be excited about. And, I still think Musetti has something in him to make this match competitive. So, it's the classic, let's say, scenario when we have a favorite, but at the same time, there are many reasons to be excited about the match, and there is still some sort of uncertainty, even though we have a favorite. So,
yeah, you want to say anything, Tom?
Sorry, yeah, I didn't know if I should jump in. Yeah, so I was just like thinking before coming into this one, like it's an exciting matchup, isn't it? Like, it's perfect Friday afternoon television. I always go back to like 2021, and that way you hear about the young kids coming through on the tours, and it was these two guys were the ones that the names that everybody was speaking about. These guys are going to be the future of tennis. Like, there was nobody talking about Jannik Sinner, especially not like in terms of the way they were talking about these two guys. And Alcaraz has probably fulfilled this potential, and Musetti to an extent probably hasn't. I mean, he's certainly now being a top 10 player. He's getting there, and I heard Mark Petrie talking about it on the television. Like Sinner and Alcaraz have taken the escalator to the top. Most people don't. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's all about steps. So I like to see Musetti in the final four of Grand Slams because I think he's an exciting prospect. I think I like the way he talks. He doesn't seem to be the kind of guy who tries to go out there, and he seems like quite a humble guy, Musetti. And as I say, as Mario said there, Alcaraz has beaten him twice already on the clay. I remember that Hamburg match in 2022, the final that Musetti won. And again, that was me watching it going, oh, these guys are the future of tennis. It's going to be a great match. So, yeah, I mean, as a guy who looks at the top of men's tennis, I'd love to see Alcaraz versus Sinner or Djokovic. Rather than Musetti. I think, you go at Musetti and Djokovic or Musetti and Sinner, and it's going to be one-sided final. I hate to say it. So I like the prospect of Alcaraz versus one of the other two. So I will be kind of gunning for Alcaraz to win this one. Nailing my Spanish colours to the mast quite early. But at the same time, I don't dislike Musetti. And I could easily be one of these guys that the most fickle fans in the world are tennis fans, aren't they? So I'll be supporting Alcaraz after he wins the first set, and then possibly wanting Musetti to win the second set just to keep it going. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, excited.
Yeah, I think it still has we've still got the possibility of having a good competitive match here. And if as I say with Alcaraz, he always he wins a lot of matches, but he does give his opponents a chance sometimes. So I think he's been really good in this tournament, but he might have dips here and there. So gives an opportunity for Musetti to get into it, and then we'll see maybe what happens. But I think we've just got a first break point here though for Alcaraz early on. I don't know where you are on the stream. Can you see that? Yeah,
I'm a little behind you. I'm 30 all second serve. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the matchup though, I watched the Tiafoe match with Musetti, and Musetti loves that, the backhand spin, because he tries to kind of take the power out of his opponent really. But I think Carlos loves that ball. Do you know what I mean? If it's played into the ad court, Carlos just going to unload. I don't know what you guys think, because I think that's going to really suit Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's this big point. Alcaraz says, "Oh, what a mistake." I get, of course, what you say about the potential final. I mean, I don't really have a preference, even because if I really had to choose, I would have preferred 4 totally different semi-finalists. But yeah, of course, it's.
What do you mean by that, Mario? What do you mean by that? Tommy Paul won. Tommy Paul's going to be one.
I mean, I don't know exactly, who, but I'm not a big fan of the matches between the top players. But at the same time, of course, it's fine that we're here, and I think my mindset is just like enjoying the tennis, and whichever the final will be, even if it's Musetti in the final, you also have to consider that he would have arrived the final beating Alcaraz, so he would already have a different, let's say, thing surrounding himself. If he beats Carlos, why shouldn't he be able to also challenge either Djokovic or Sinner and try to do something against them? So I think, at this point, whatever final we're going, it will be very, very exciting. And so I think we are in some sort of win-win situation. Like whatever happens, it's going to be great, I think.
I mean, a Musetti Sinner final would be something for Italy, wouldn't it?
I mean, I'm not the classic Italian. Like, I don't really care about it, if I gotta be honest. Just meaning that I'm not like, I wouldn't be like making emotional essays about a Grand Slam final between 2 Italians. If it happens, I'm fine with it. But, for me, the most important thing is just to have great matches, great tennis. So, I think whatever the final is going to be, I think it's plenty to be excited about at this point. Then if it's between 2 Italian, if it's Carlos against Novak, if it's Lorenzo Novak, if it's, I don't know. I think whatever happens, right now, as I said, in my opinion, these are the 4 best clay court players in the world, because you've got the whole podium of the Olympics, for example, and Carlos and Musetti have been also the best players of the Masters 1000 tournaments on clay. Then there is Djokovic, his name tells it all, and Sinner, number 1. So I think, we're really talking about, on this surface, about the best 4 players. Then, I don't know if you agree, but for me, it's difficult to think of a better, lineup than this one for a Grand Slam tournament on clay in this period.
Yeah. I think it's been a fairly, certainly in fact, both sides of the draw. I think the stronger players, for the most part, the quarterfinals and the men's. I think there was I might be totally wrong, but there was 6 of the top 8 seeds, maybe 7 of the top 8 seeds. I think maybe 6 at least. So I think it's been a good quality in that sense. Like, I'm not somebody who likes many shocks in my tennis events, like I know some people do, but I always think it dilutes the quality by the end of the event. I think you'll get to, like, if the top seeds all go out early, then you've got a final, which, I mean, it could be a good match, but there's less interest in it. I want to see the best players playing in for the biggest tournaments and the biggest matches. So I thought, the quarterfinal lineup was pretty strong. I think it was only Taylor Fritz. I think I'm missing one other, certainly for the men's side. So it has been a pretty strong Grand Slam in that sense. I just wanted to go back on Ghost has picked me up on my calling tennis fans fickle, and what I mean by that is I can't think of any other sport where the fans will turn up non-fussed about who's going to win and change sides so many times during a match because they want the match to be prolonged or the event to be prolonged. Like, football fans are very tribal. They're either red or blue or green or blue. I mean, even in individual sports, like, say golf, you're not going to get somebody maybe changing who they want to win mid-event. But you always find with tennis, like, these guys are paid $200, 200 euros for a nighttime ticket. And they basically want the match to last as long as they can, don't they? So they turn up and, look at Alcaraz, Tommy Paul, right? They're all going to probably support Carlos Alcaraz, aren't they? They're all because he's the current defending champion. He starts to build that relationship the more he's on the court with the French crowd. An hour into that match, the crowd are switching their allegiance to Tommy Paul because they want the match to go on longer, and that's what I mean by fickle.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, but that's just people are there because they've spent a lot of money and they want They want to
exactly. Yeah,
they want to, and tennis is interested in that.
Maybe fickle's the wrong term for it, but there's not really kind of. I mean, we all know about there can be strong allegiances in tennis. I'm not saying that. Like we all know what goes on tennis Twitter. But yeah, it's just mean like people who are in the stands in the stadium. A lot of them can often change their allegiance very quickly depending on the way the wind's blowing.
Ghosty's saying that he likes the second weeks more because there's not as much interest for him, but he does like the intrigue of a Blasson, for example. Well, I mean, to support Tom's point though, that semi-final wasn't very competitive against Coco Gauff, right? So as much as people were hoping it might be, I mean, a tremendous run from her, but in the end it was a fairly short semi-final. So yeah, I mean, I can sort of see both sides to it, but we had some people argue before that they should go back to only 16 seeds, and they were going to do that at one point, and then they scrapped it.
You know what? I also prefer first week. And I would say, when some people say, but then the semifinal is not competitive, I would be like, okay, fine, I don't care. For me, what happened in round 16 and quarterfinal with Wasson, beating both Pegula and Gauff and having that run, it's enough to pay me back from the fact that the semifinal hasn't been great. I am with Ghosty on this. For me, second weeks are a bit like, if I have to be fully honest with you all, I can wait for the French Open to be over. Simply because for me, like the storylines, I don't know, it's, there's something more about the first week, in my opinion. Even like all this 5-setter, for me, there's nothing more Grand Slam than a 5-setter comeback on an outside court with 2 unseeded players on the court. For me, this is peak Grand Slam tennis. And but of course, I mean, it's also nice to have these great matches. But for me, it's not like I live for these moments. That's it.
I was just checking the quarterfinal. I was actually wrong. There was only 5 of the top 8 was in the quarterfinal draw, and I'm just trying to think who the 3 we've lost were. So there was Taylor Fritz, Jack Draper. I'm missing one. If any of you guys can jump in and think.
The 4th who lost, you mean Casper Ruud?
He wouldn't have been 7th seed though, would he?
Yeah, it was Tommy Paul instead of Casper Ruud.
Right, okay. And then Tiafoe instead of...
Tiafoe instead of...
No, Bublik instead of Draper.
Tiafoe instead of Fritz, and Bublik instead of Draper. Draper would have been against Sinner in the quarter, but Bublik beat Draper and then lost to Sinner. So it's...
Got you.
This.
Got you. Let me ask you, just talking about the draws in the Grand Slam, and that's what we're here to talk about tennis while the match goes on, and we will update. But what about open draws with no seeding? Does that have a pull for anybody? It could be anybody at any time.
Open draws, no seeding.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's feasible, but I'm just saying with that, the way that
wait, the question is
Cup or something.
The question is, if we would like a draw with no seeded players. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Sure.
The chaos. Yeah, as soon as there's a Djokovic, the Alcaraz first round.
Yeah. So would it not make it a blockbuster first round? Or does it dilute the draw? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's something that I would go for. But I just wondered if it's something that, I don't know what you guys think.
Such a great point.
Yeah, that was a great point by Musetti finishing off with the net there. You'll see that.
I thought you were talking about me. I thought you were telling me that I made a great point.
Good point from everybody.
I think it would be absolute chaos if you just had no seeds, though. I mean, I think people would quickly be calling for seeds to come back. But I think also you would get some loss of interest, possibly as the tournament goes on. So
I don't think the players would be too happy either.
No, look, I mean, I'm not thinking about tennis. I thought Tom's question was like personal. Like, would you, like me, like this? And then I say yes. But of course, if I have to think about tennis as a sport and everything, I gotta say no. I just answered if the question was to me and, only myself.
No, I'm not saying that goes what I will. I think Bublik more than deserved to beat Jack Draper. What I'm saying is I think maybe Draper would have given him a better match, but he might not have. Again, it's woulda, shoulda, coulda. Nobody knows what hasn't happened. So I look, the odds. Put it this way: Bublik beats Sinner, then Djokovic is going to beat Bublik tonight fairly comfortably, is he not? Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's. I know it goes sane but I like, in an ideal world, like, you'd have the top 4 seeds playing in the semi-finals and the top 8. Now, that rarely happens. It rarely happens. I can't remember the last time that happened. But I just like the biggest players. So the prospect of, Alcaraz playing, Sinner or Djokovic on Sunday, that will be something that I'll make sure that I'm not doing anything that I can watch that. Like, I'll be, whereas, if it was Djokovic versus Musetti, I'm probably going to watch it, but I'm probably like, how do they know the outcome of this? Because this guy wins Grand Slam finals. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
For me, it's more like the occasion makes the thing spectacular. Like, I'm more focused on what's the prize rather than the players who are fighting for it. Like, for me, the Grand Slam final is the Grand Slam final, even if it's like world number 60 against world number 70. It's just, the occasion in itself that it's huge. I would probably do your, the same thoughts as you is if it was like an ATP 500 final. Then probably it's, for me, it would be the same. Like, if it's a huge final, and then probably I'm, but about a Grand Slam final.
Nadal Casper Ruud a couple of years ago at the French, Nadal Casper Ruud, are you sitting there going, I can't wait for this final today? Because it was an absolute damp squib.
Well, no. If it's not, but, Djokovic, Musetti, don't you think it would be a pretty competitive one this year?
It might be, but I think I'm fairly certain of the outcome of that. And just the way the guy, like, I was watching him against Zverev, Djokovic.
I mean,
do you know that way you can tell?
Of course, there is a favorite, but it's not like Nadal against Ruud in 22.
Maybe not.
For me, there's still some doubts.
Anyway, let's move on.
Dave saying
what do you think?
Dave saying that the big 3-4 playing each other constantly got boring. I could understand that. I can maybe understand that, but I mean, even though we've got all these seedings and all that, we still haven't had a final between Sinner and Alcaraz at a Grand Slam. So we're still
very good point.
Perhaps the chance for it's going to happen first time. And I think most people want to be able to see that, but we've been denied it so far. This seems like a great chance of it happening, and I personally would love to see it. But if it was still Alcaraz Djokovic, it'd still be really interesting. But I think we're going back to whether you want a totally open draw with no seeds. I know that they were considering bringing it down to 16 seeds before, but they scrapped it at the last minute. I think maybe they got some negative feedback
from the players.
Although I don't know, people in the game. I'm not, maybe from the players as well. But having said that, I think I was looking at, maybe it was Tennis Abstract or somewhere, they were looking at they analysed whether 16 seeds actually, the change made that much difference. And they said actually overall, I think for the big players, it didn't make that much of a difference in terms of how well they do overall. So
absolutely,
maybe, but I think having no seeds, you would obviously get a few crazy first round matchups. But
it'd be great. Yeah. Think about it.
I think it's okay like that. How we are right now.
Well, is it not the old adage though, right? You get into the top. I mean, I'm sure I heard it on a podcast one time. You get into the top 50 of the world, and it can be a fairly comfortable living because you're getting into all the kind of main draws. You don't even really need to get past the second or third round, and it's very hard for you to actually leave that top 50. I'm sure there's some sort of science and mathematical thing that it's just because you're getting the benefits of it being a top 50 player, you get into all the obviously all the Grand Slams, you get into all the main draw kind of things. And so you only have to win a couple of matches, and it's very hard for you to actually ever drop out of that top 50. Again, it was a while ago I heard this, and I couldn't really back it up with any evidence, but I suppose like taking away the seeding would give, like, those players who are on the cusp a chance to get a good run rather than, facing up to a top 8 seed, the younger players. But I suppose, again, the flip side of that is, does that make them? Do they learn from that experience? Do they want it more? So do they want to be that number 8 seed? I don't know.
And it's been a pretty competitive first 4 games so far. So
yeah.
Yes, it has. Yeah. Musetti had a wee opening there at 15:30.
Meaning that, it's different rather than the best of 3 match. This is very long, so it's, both players are kind of doing well. They both probably can do even a bit better than this, but it's fine. Lots of tension, lots of pressure, a long match ahead. So, I was kind of expecting to see a little bit, a competitive start, let's say.
Let me ask you guys then about Musetti. Am I wrong in saying, there was a lot of hype around this guy when he was younger? I always remember, was that 3-4 years ago now that, the 2 sets up on Djokovic, and I always felt like he never really recovered from that for ages. Like, he disappeared. He couldn't win a match for the rest of the year.
It's not that, in my opinion.
But I mean, that year, he pretty much didn't win many tennis matches after that.
Yeah, but I think he wasn't ready for, right now he plays in a totally different way rather than actually 4 years ago now. I think, of course, Clay has always been really good on it. Even in 22, he beat Carlos to win a 500. But I think Musetti nowadays is a very complete player. He wasn't 4 years ago, but it's fine. Musetti is still pretty young. He's, 23 years old. So, I think he's still very much on time. I think he needed actually more maturity probably to be where he is right now. I don't think it was really about recovering from that loss, Then I don't know, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not inside him, but, that's my idea.
Yeah, I mean, also unlike Sinner and Alcaraz, who we're comparing him to, I mean, he doesn't have a game as explosive as those guys who are exceptional. And, I think with him, it's maybe taken a bit more time to sort of just mature and get experience, because I think that's more about the way he plays. And yeah, I mean, I think he struggled a bit as well on the quicker surfaces for a bit when he's younger, but he's obviously much better all around now. And yeah, as you said, he's still only 23, so that's pretty young in tennis these days. So a lot of players don't peak until they're late 20s now. So.
And do you guys, do you see him destined to, finish his career as, a Grand Slam winner? I know it's very difficult with the 2 guys who are at the top of the tree, but I wonder if is this a guy who, Mario, when you've seen him coming through the ranks over the last 3 or 4 years, you've always thought, that guy's got the game to actually go all the way?
I don't know what to answer, actually. I gotta be honest. Meaning that I think we are in the situation of a player who is potentially able to do it, but at the same time, it wouldn't shock me if it doesn't happen. If I can explain myself, meaning that for me, we are a little bit in the middle. I think his one-handed backhand. I still think one-handed backhand is a limitation in tennis.
Yeah, Dave's saying the same.
I have to be honest.
Super Dave's saying the same.
But at the same time, he's able to do it. So let's say we are a little bit in the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if it does it. And at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't do it. So, I think he's in this range of players who can think about it. But at the same time, it's not easy to do it. So we'll see if he will be able to do it, if he will be, he will keep growing and improving as he's doing right now. Yeah, I think, as Gossi says since the comment, probably French Open feels like the best solution right now. I think it's possible, but at the same time, it's not, guaranteed. It's not like if Alcaraz would have gone his career without getting his hands on a major.
Yeah. What's been happening in the tennis then?
Well, they're still on serve. 3-2 to Musetti. Yeah.
My idea, I don't know if you agree, is that Carlos could have done a little bit more and be already ahead. I feel like he's had a couple points where, for example, the volley he missed on love 15 here. But at the same time, Musetti is doing well. I mean, so, it's just a competitive match. Quality is high. I think it can be even higher than this, but it's still very enjoyable.
Yeah, a few odd mistakes here and there from Alcaraz, right? But I don't think you could say that they've made a huge difference at this moment in time. So, but maybe something to keep an eye on if it continues. But yeah, it's interesting so far. So that's good. I mean, don't see it going one way or the other at the moment.
No, I mean, it seems to be, for me, though, that Carlos is the one that's always threatening every single Musetti service game. It's been competitive. I mean, but like you guys say, actually, now I think about it, both every single, what is it? We're at 3-0, 2-3, and every game's been pretty competitive. But it just seems to be that, as somebody mentioned in the chat, Carlos is going for the backhand, trying to get him on the run to try and take that backhand on. It makes it the riskier shot. Although I've been impressed with Musetti's power, at that point there at deuce, the serve and then the +1 was had kind of got Carlos pretty static, pretty wrong-footed, and so yeah, I've been impressed with Musetti now, and where I'm on the stream, he's won the first point of the sixth game on the Alcaraz serve, so you never know. Perfect time to break.
It's always the perfect time to break. No, I'm kidding. I get what you mean. 4-2. If he then holds, he puts like one hand at least on the first serve. But yeah, still a long way to go. I don't know why my stream is blocked.
Big point. I don't know. Oh God, I know I'm a bit behind you guys, but I've just seen that Musetti forehand where he was well in the rally, and there was a bit of pressure going on Carlos there, but that's just that forehand, that wild forehand's just totally taken out any stress.
Yeah, and that next point that you'll see as well also in a Musetti error, and not too easy, from his point of view, I think.
It's funny when I said that I was coming on the stream today, but I had to be away by 3 o'clock UK time. John kept on saying, "Oh yeah, well this could be done. Tom, the match could be done by then." And I was just thinking, he keeps saying, "Oh, it could be done 2 or 3 sets by then." I don't know how, because I always thought this was going to be pretty competitive, and at least 4 sets of tennis.
You know what? For me, even if it's a straight sets, for how these guys play, it still would take quite a long time, Like even a straight sets, I'm still expecting to hit the 2 hours target. I don't know about you. In the end, we are at like 28 minutes. So
yeah,
more or less.
Oh, really good rally that I'm on at the moment. I think you guys have probably seen the end of this one. Good ground strokes from both, and then Musetti went along with the moon ball. But yeah, tongue in cheek, Tom. And what time is the Sinner Djokovic a night match, or is that just like as soon as this match finishes tonight, isn't it?
7 p.m. local
Or is it
time.
7 p.m.?
7 p.m. Yeah, right.
Because the golf semi was just as soon as the
Yeah.
Swiatek Sabalenka match had finished. There was no kind of not before time on it. It was just keep rolling it out.
It depends on the tickets. So I don't know actually, because I never tried to buy tickets, but probably, you know, women's semi was one ticket for both. And so they got one after the other.
Right. Yeah.
While maybe men's semifinals are two different tickets. I don't know. But, you know, that's my idea.
I meant to ask you, Mario, how was your Rome experience covering it? Being an accredited press?
It's been very nice in Rome. And
at the event, though, at the tournament when you were the media?
Everything. The tournament, the city. I just love going there whenever. So it was great stuff, actually. So
Excellent. I am working at the Scotland versus Iceland game tonight. So so you've probably had a much funner experience in this. What's that?
This was a steal from Lorenzo.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So where are you guys now? So I've got 3-all, Lorenzo Musetti serving.
Yeah, Musetti's up 15 love.
Oh, and is that what you're talking about, the steal? Yeah, Carlos hits the net. I agree, Dave.
So Scotland v Iceland, that's just a friendly then, isn't it?
It is tonight, yes, Eddie. So doing it for Clyde 1.
That's cool.
So got to be in the stadium for 5:30. So that's why I'm saying to, when John asked us, I said I'll need to be away by 3 just with the traffic and that.
Mm.
But yeah, working events is good, isn't it, Mario? Like, I'm glad you had a fun time at Rome.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your highlight? What was your highlight of the week or the 2 weeks?
Highlight? Yeah, I don't know, because it actually probably would be personal, meaning that I got to spend a lot of time with a friend of mine
Cool.
who's Italian, and we don't live close to each other. So for me, you know, from a personal point of view, that was something I really appreciated, because I got to, you know, to really spend much time with.
Did you get to ask Tommy Paul any questions?
No, but we've met. If you're interested in, we've met, and it's been very nice actually. So you know, everything great. I actually right now I get more time in the week to watch tennis, even at home. I mean, because in the weekend I go to lections of my masters in HR management. So for example, tomorrow I won't be able to watch the women's final, and I'm really sad about it. But yeah, it's fine.
So you've got, is it an exam you've got tomorrow, an exam?
No, I do, you know, my master's lections are at the weekend because it's like something for adults. So some people work during the week and go to lections at the weekend. So this is actually an issue of following tennis.
Yeah. It's always a tennis match on somewhere, isn't there?
Absolutely. But because tennis never stops. So whatever you do in your life, there's always going to be a tennis match while you're working. Breakpoint here. I think it's the second one.
Yeah, it is the second one. And it was also 30-40 last time, then Musetti saved it.
Yeah, first
Can you do it this time?
The opening game.
This was from 30 love up though, wasn't it?
And he holds it with a good serve.
How's the temperature where you are? Is it
Me?
hot? Is it cold? Is it cool, warm?
Who? Me?
Both.
Tepid.
It's hot here. It was hot here. It was about 29 Celsius today, and
Okay, because here it's 30. First
Right.
day of the year when
Definitely
we
not 30
hit
here.
where we hit 30. So
I'll
it's
tell you
still
what it says on my.
I'm not
weather
happy
app.
about it.
yeah.
It
I'm just trying to
says
hold.
We are 15 degrees.
Okay, I mean it's not uncomfortable, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
definitely. By the way,
I'm just trying
as
to
it
hold off.
happened-
Yeah.
As it happened in the first game, Musetti wins 3 straight points from 30-40. So, it's very, very competitive set so far.
So has he won that game? Has he? Because I'm just behind now. I'm at game point from Musetti, and Carlos goes into the
Yeah, I'm
next
sorry.
one.
I have a bit of trouble because you're like 20, 25 seconds behind.
Yeah.
Is it like that? Okay. Very fast points, all of them.
Yeah, I think
so.
Mario and I are about the same point, right? We're at the same.
Yeah, I think so.
How's the weather actually there right now? Because is the roof open or closed? I didn't actually.
Closed. Well,
It's closed,
I noticed that when they were coming out, it was closed, so it must obviously be quite damp. And I saw Terry actually mention it, like one of the first comments in this chat. The roof is closed. So does that mean then, like that'll be it now for the rest of this match? Like that can't be undone even if the weather's good outside.
Yeah.
I thought that. Does that, I suppose, does it level it up at all, in terms of the matchup?
I don't think it makes a massive difference, to be honest, in this particular matchup.
Yeah, same. Because it's not like, it's
not like an indoor event.
Yeah, for me, it happens when, for example, you have a very sunny and hot day, and then the ball on the clay bounces particularly high, and then it makes a lot of difference. But of course, if they close the roof, then it means that outside is quite rainy, and so maybe not even as hot as it could be, and so I don't know if it really makes a lot of difference in terms of the surface, especially considering how the two players play on the court. So I don't know.
It seemed to be dry outside though when they were looking there, cloudy but dry. It just I don't really like it when they close the roof, to be honest.
No,
I had the same idea.
But I am sure now the match has started with it being closed, they can't then be going, oh look, it's boiling blue skies outside. I don't think they can do that for whatever reason. I don't know why, but anyway, it is what it is. I'm sure Carlos. It's just because in terms of Carlos, we all know. I know he won was at Rotterdam, but we all know his much publicised struggles indoors sometimes, and I just wondered if that would have any kind of factor.
Thing is that for both is kind of similar, I think both, for example, Yannick and Novak probably prefer a little bit if the ball doesn't bounce so high, while probably both Lorenzo and Carlos like a good bounce, pretty high bounce, and so probably for both is kind of similar the situation right now. For example, if you ask me about Sinner against Djokovic, I still wouldn't be able to give you an answer, just because I think both Sinner and Djokovic more or less like kind of the same conditions. So I don't know if you close the roof, I think it's pretty similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What were you guys made of Djokovic's run then, in terms of getting to the semi-finals? Hadn't had any kind of sort of prep. I know he won Geneva, but before Geneva then, there was no form there at all, and now he makes the semi-finals. So is it just, the guy's obviously just the greatest of all time, he can turn up and do that, or what were you guys made of it?
I would say he's not had the toughest first 4 rounds, to be honest. I mean, in terms of the players that he's played, but then obviously coming through Zverev, impressive. But yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to, you know, he's still Djokovic, right? So he still has that ability, even if he's physically down a bit. But I think it just, at this stage, he's still absolutely got that elite level ability in him. It's just a case of it's maybe not coming as often now, but I think he showed here that he's still an exceptional player, and it makes it I think the semi-final quite interesting against Sinner.
Yeah, I mean, nobody out of the 4 semi-finalists, I think nobody has really spent that much time on the court. So, you know, I think everybody is quite fresh, as much, of course, you can be in a Grand Slam semi-final. You know, it's not like Djokovic has really needed to dig that deep in order to reach the semis. So I think, for example, the physical thing, I don't think it should be an issue. I mean, I think the situation is pretty easy. You know, there is a favorite in that one as well, and it's Sinner, in my opinion, just because of, you know, where we are right now. But at the same time, as you say, you know, Djokovic is Djokovic, and so we know how well he can play, how well he can strike the ball, how well he can serve, and so he has the tools, of course, to put Yannick and everybody in trouble. So, you know, I think we have, you know, for me, it's not wrong to admit that there is a favorite for today's match, but at the same time, there is room to see Djokovic doing something great. So I think that there is, you know, plenty of reasons to get excited about this semifinal.
Yeah. What about you, Eddie? I mean, I know you kind of touched on it, the fact that he's just turned up, but in terms of him versus Sinner, do you see it?
Oh.
What do you see? 60-40, 70-30 with Sinner? I don't know.
Yeah, 60-40 seems fair, I think, to Sinner.
I
Maybe
struggle
a bit higher
in percentages. I struggle.
And that means I think it, you know, I could imagine Sinner being pushed a bit. Maybe it goes to 4 sets and Sinner probably gets the win, but could go to 5. But I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, the way that Sinner's played though so far, I mean, it also wouldn't surprise me if it you know was fairly one-sided as well. I think maybe a bit more depends on what Djokovic can bring this time, but
for me,
I think even
I don't know if you agree. You know, just in terms of matchup wise, it feels like Djokovic has something more to offer against Carlos rather than against Yannick. In the last year, that's what it has looked like. Then, of course, you know, Djokovic has the motivation and the quality to do something great tonight as well. But, you know, probably for the way they both play, you know, while, you know, Sinner between the two is the one who resembles a little bit more Djokovic rather than Carlos. So still, I think, of course, clay will help Djokovic, because I think the biggest difference in the Djokovic-Sinner matchup lately has been the serve return dynamic. Sinner in Shanghai, Australian Open, has dominated in the serve return dynamic. You know, let's not forget that Djokovic hasn't had any break point in all the last 2 matches against Sinner. So I think clay can help Novak in this matchup, because it will give him a little bit more time to.
And it's actually the first meeting on clay since their very first meeting, I think. So
yeah,
it's
which
been a long.
I think doesn't even matter.
Yeah, right. So I mean, obviously, a lot of the wins from Yannick, I mean, they've all come in hard court, really. So yeah, it probably does help Djokovic a bit in that respect. But
you know, I think for what I saw in that matchup, I think Sinner has been able to dominate in the serve return dynamic. So that's why I think Clay at least will help Djokovic neutralize a little bit this aspect. So I think there's room for something special tonight. But, you know, I won't say that Djokovic is the favorite because I think Yannick is the favorite.
Great power shown by Musetti there in terms of the opening point of this very crucial game.
Yeah, this is... Oh. Well, now I've just seen that point there that was pretty wild forehand error there from Alcaraz, going inside out but way long, and then it's at love 30 now on the Alcaraz serve. So
now Ghosty. I'd never give Djokovic any advice. I'm not worth it.
A huge moment here for Musetti. Is it about wide? No.
You guys know what's going on and I don't because I'm behind you.
Okay.
No, nothing too important so far.
I mean, I'm seeing Greg Rosetsky in the BBC saying that Carlos is trying to be like Yannick Sinner because he's not going for any of the flashy. He's trying to be like Yannick Sinner, very serious and very focused. He's not doing any of the showman stuff that we normally see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's been more of a theme as well in this tournament.
Definitely. Very mature. I mean, not just this tournament. I think the match against Sinner was most recently the semi-final in Rome. Yeah, I thought it was one of the most like mature performances I'd seen from Carlos Alcaraz like ever watching. Just totally assured, didn't try and pull out the flashy, risky shots. Just ground him down. Knew the fitness levels probably wasn't all there, and very disciplined.
Yeah,
well, we've got quite.
Yeah, go.
Sorry, just took two set points here, so it's a huge moment in the match.
Let's talk through it. Do it.
Yeah, well, it's Alcaraz to serve now. And it's going to be a second serve. Musetti standing way back still. Wow. Well.
Musetti. 6-4.
And, we're talking about the control, or maybe from Alcaraz. I mean, that was him going aggressive inside in.
I don't know if it's out of nowhere, though. I know that.
No, but I mean, the break of serve. Like, Musetti hasn't carved out a break point.
No, you're right. But see, for example, Alcaraz is at 44 first serve percentage. You have here the Google screen showing it, which is pretty low.
Is that correct?
And I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, now we'll see the stats here. But for example, in this game, he's almost always played on second serve. And when you are under pressure, it can become more difficult to handle, not putting more first serves in. Yeah, exactly. If it's in 41, actually, 41. This is the official Roland Garros stat. So, I mean, it's pretty low.
I think you just got to be disappointed, though, the way he just ended that set there, though. That was obviously the big error from him. It was too easy. I thought maybe he was going to try and draw out the rally a bit, but not just go for a winner so quickly like that. And well, here we go. I mean, it's probably much more key, right, for Musetti to get this first set. I'll still count Alcaraz.
You know what is? is that I also would give Musetti some credit for that, meaning that for the way Musetti plays, first of all, Musetti played a great first point, hitting a forehand winner. And this is important because you start putting pressure on your opponent, like he's serving to stay in the set, and suddenly he's lost the first point. And so, pressure starts rising. And then at the same time, Musetti is kind of somebody who forces you to take the initiative at times. So, of course, it's disappointing from Alcaraz, but I also want to give Musetti credit to, to have put this sort of pressure on Carlos. And we'll see now what happens.
Yeah, he stuck with him and took his opportunity. So
I'll go for some water.
Go for some water.
I'm gonna.
You're all taking a break. Well, I'll keep us going for now then.
I'm not going to take a break. I'm just pouring myself a little beverage here.
A little beverage.
Oh wait, I finished.
So, I mean, I thought beforehand that Musetti had to win the first set. He's done that now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But Alcaraz over 5.
Yeah, you think Alcaraz over 5?
I just think that him losing the first set is not that big a deal for him. I mean, I don't think he's found his top level yet, and I think.
Well, that's the thing that I would worry for Carlos fans. Though, has he been the better player? Has he, I mean, he's carved out a couple of break points, but Musetti's serving really well now. Whether or not Musetti can keep up this serving performance for the whole match, yeah, that's going to be tough. But whenever Carlos carves out any opportunity, Musetti just serves him off the court.
This is my beverage. I would like to have something more tasty than this, but I haven't.
I'm actually drinking tequila.
Tequila?
Oh, good. Great choice.
It's silver tequila, yeah, but it's yeah.
What time is it in Korea?
It's 10:30 p.m. So.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah,
it's a Friday night.
You're all good. You're all good.
But
do you live there?
Do you live there all year long?
8 a.m. That's aye. That's
yeah, Mario. Yeah, I live here. I live here. Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't know why. I was kind of sure you were somehow connected to the Great Britain in some way. I don't know why. I always had this idea.
I'm from Scotland, but
okay, perfect.
I grew up in Scotland, yeah, but
perfect. I've understood anything. I'm a big Scotland lover since Scotland won Napoli the championship this year. So I will always love Scotland.
It was McTominay and
Gilmore.
Gilmore, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially McTominay, but.
And you've also got Lewis Ferguson winning the Coppa Italia with Bologna, becoming only the second
there's
Scot
another one
to win
Ferguson
that cup. Lewis
True?
Ferguson, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we all love Scotland.
Yeah, there's a lot of Scots and have played in Serie A recently.
Yeah. Josh Doig as well, former Hibs.
That's true.
What was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, apparently, as I was saying in the chat, apparently there's been a sharp increase in square sausage on a pizza in Naples.
Really?
I like everything on the pizza. I'm an orthodox on this. I like everything on the pizza.
Square sausage is really Scottish, but
yeah.
Actually, I ate in Germany the best pizza I've ever had in my life. So,
wow.
So what was on it?
I mean, I was in Berlin last year. I was alone. The first night I arrived, it was amazing.
Do you know what to say? What was on it, Mario?
I don't remember anymore, actually.
All right, okay.
But I will find it. I would.
So you'd had a couple of tequilas, and you just all you remember is it was the best pizza you've ever tasted, even though you don't remember what was on it.
I would love to have drank tequila. I just studied for my last exam. Mario on the beers. I would love it.
Mario and the beers. Right. What does Carlos need to do, Mario? Mario, what does Carlos have to do to get back into this match then? What does he need to change up?
I don't know. Carlos is pretty much in it, I would say. Just a little bit of being more careful. I would say that it's pretty much about the last game. That's been the difference between the two players so far. But Carlos is not doing, anything particularly wrong. Probably just the producer is crazy. Whatever. I think Alcaraz is just about probably being a little more high quality in some of these shots, like couple drop shots missed, one volley that could have been a little bit better, but it's not like there's something big Carlos has to change, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, it's just like he needs to make a few less errors, right? It's sometimes it's not been about the wrong shot selection or anything. It's just been poorly executed at times, and but that's just the way he's obviously going to go big at times, or go for the, he's hit a few drop shots as well that he should have done better at, but it's not like it's been. He's had chances here and there to get on top as well, but he's just got to keep going, and I think he'll maybe find.
He hasn't been terrible. It's just some little things here and there, but I don't think he has had a bad performance. Yeah, of course, the first serve percentage we see it can be higher, even though they both defended the second serve pretty well.
And that was he can do a bit more of that as well. He's not had as many chances in the first set, but he's got a little chance on the Musetti serve now, and that was a nice little return stepping in on the backhand side.
You guys still at love 15, you guys, yeah?
30.
No, that's
love 30 now. See, you guys are even in front of the scoreboard.
Yeah,
did he make that?
Sinner.
Oh, he's made that. Brilliant. In fact, the scoreboard's
is
love
good.
40 now.
Yeah, it's good. Sean, I cannot answer this question. I really had zero clue. I think it will mostly be about who they prefer. And I think they are both pretty much liked in Italy.
Last Italian man to win the French Open?
No, the question is if we got Musetti.
I know, but I'm just asking you, how long ago was it since an Italian man won the French Open?
Actually, before Sinner, there's only been one Italian winning a slam in the Open era, and it was Panatta in the French Open 76.
Boom, well done.
Then Sinner came and he won Australia, and there's the break, and US Open. So basically the only thing that's missing is Wimbledon. And I think this year there's a chance.
A chance this year, Wimbledon?
Well, Sinner is, as always, a chance, I would say. So.
Yeah, does he like the grass though? I know he's what, semi-final?
Why not? Why not?
There we go, Carlos. I know you guys have said that already. Carlos gets the break, and you can see how much that means. He was shouting and screaming there, so well done, Carlos. Hopefully, he can level up this set and or this match. Sorry, but yeah, flying through that one.
Yeah, just the
guys,
start.
Can I say a thing?
Go for it.
since Jane has talked about Paul's run, I gotta say that I'm so happy that I'm kind of the go-to person for whatever Tommy Paul does right in the tennis world. Like whenever he wins a match, there's like 10 people writing to me in the DMs on Twitters and Instagram saying like, "Come on, hello, are you happy?" And I have so much fun about it.
He's back in. Wait, where is he now in the rankings? He'll be up to. Where is it, 8? Or, yeah.
8, but he's injured himself. I hope he can play Queen's Club. So.
Are you going to Queen's?
He was listed for all the grass weeks, but of course he withdrew from Stuttgart.
I thought maybe you were going to Queen's, but no.
Me? No.
Yeah.
No. I graduate on 24th of July, and since then, until then, I cannot really move.
Oh, so, just imagine the pizza that you're going to have that night on the 24th of July. It's going to be about 3 pizza boxes. Right, this match is an hour long, and yeah, still we don't really know. I mean, who would you say is the favourite right now, then, guys, for this match?
Alcaraz.
You
say Alcaraz still? Yeah. Set down.
Yeah.
It hasn't really changed, because when I think about a player who is the favorite before the match, I already take into account that that player can drop one set. So, I actually would have been surprised if both of these matches would end up like 3-0. I still think the underdog has one set in him, so I'm not really shocked that Musetti won a set.
Yeah, but I suppose it matters when that underdog wins that set. If he's 2 sets down and wins the third set, then you know what I mean. But if you win the first set,
well, then of course,
I suppose maybe Carlos he spent the whole term, he spent the whole event giving away the third set, so maybe he's just getting that one out the way early. Well, what I'll do is I'll hang about until the changeover then, guys, and then I'll just, because you guys have got this, you guys are sailing it, and then I'll say my goodbyes then, all right?
Cool. Ooh. Oh dear! I mean, this is Alcaraz making life difficult for himself here.
Yeah, this game he's had a couple of avoidable, let's say, mistakes.
Yeah. Well.
But I think for Musetti, the game plan that he's turned up with, it's hurting him. I'll be honest, I've watched Musetti now and again, but the power that Musetti's got, I mean, they're on the run, Musetti. Wow.
Yeah, he's hitting very well, I've got to say. This, even this forehand on the run. Well, this is not an first. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happened? Oh, it's a great return, so he's broken serve.
It's I think when you play against Alcaraz, you do have to you do have to have power. I mean, that's going to be the way that you're going to be able to get errors from him, because if you don't go for it, you find yourself getting dominated, and well, it's working so well for Musetti now.
Carlos is nervous. I mean, I know that this is a guy who's won 4 Grand Slams, but he just looks a bit nervous to me, a bit nervy.
Look, it's normal, I would say. You're in a semi, look at yesterday, Iga and Arena. They both were pretty nervous, but I think it's normal, because it's a Grand Slam semi-final. Your opponent has just won the first set. Yeah. You got a break, but you can't, escape. You can't build, a significant lead in the set. And I mean, it's normal, I think, to get nervous, because of course, you've lost the set. You start thinking, oh my God, this is going to be very difficult and long. It's not that you don't know before the match, but still, when it really happens, it can frustrate you a bit, especially if it's you making a couple of avoidable mistakes here and there. So I think it's normal.
Yeah. I have to admit, yeah, talking about Musetti earlier. I mean, you know, sometimes when you don't know how much live tennis I mean, I know obviously you've seen some, Mario. Don't know about you, Tom, how much live tennis you've seen, but sometimes, you know, when you watch a player live, you get a slightly different perspective on
I've heard that,
how well they actually play. So, I mean, I saw Musetti live for the first time this year, and it was the tournament in Hong Kong. He didn't do that well, but still being there, you know, you could see how well he actually, his strokes, how well he actually hits it. I mean, even talk about his backhand, but also forehand. And
I agree with you.
I was impressed with that. Stood out for me. And yeah, I mean, he's having a very good clay season, right? So
I agree with you, meaning that when I've watched players, you know, playing live in person, I think you understand their potential, how good they play, regardless of the level of their performance. I don't know if you agree with, you know, of course you saw him not doing that well at that tournament, but still you understood, you know, the ground stroke, you know, better than it is on TV. So I kind of agree with you. You know, when I watched some of them playing live, I was like having, let's say, a different perspective of them.
But can
Indeed,
I play devil's advocate here?
Yeah.
Would you not? And I suppose that being able to spot like somebody who's particularly talented, will, I suppose you suppose you'll get better at that the more you watch live professional tennis. But if I was to turn up and watch my first ever live professional tennis event, I'm going to think every single player is absolutely amazing. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also get it. I also get it. Like when I watch them practicing, I always am like, oh my God, but how well they hit the ball. Because it's like that. I mean, it's not wrong. It's like that. You know, we don't really have, since we are used to see, you know, them playing against each other, we lose perspective a little bit. And that's for sure. So
I mean, I think when you're actually at the stadium as well, when you're if you've got a good seat, you're really up close. I mean, you can see what stands out for me is all the spins and all that, which you don't know. That was a great point there. When Musetti comes through. But yeah, just everything's a bit amplified when you're up close. You can see all the spins on the ball and how ridiculous and how talented they actually are to be able to deal with that. They make it look second nature.
I actually have a question for you two. Since, you know, I scroll on Twitter, I talk with friends, with people. Here in Italy, everybody talks about tennis. So even if I go out, I talk about tennis. So am I the only one who prefers the flat, hard hitting rather than lots of topspin? Like for me, the tennis I really enjoy is flat, hard hitting.
Nah, not for me.
I actually, I think I prefer flat hitting, but I mean, I think there's something to be. A lot of people they love and the people talk about they wish they had more one-handed backhands these days, and you know how beautiful they are and stuff. I still love a two-handed, like a flat two-handed backhand that's really well timed.
We understand. I am team two hands.
Team two hands. I like it. No, I mean, I like. That's why I said to you at the start of this stream that I really like the Musetti game because he's not just and he's surprised me with his hitting, but he's not just. It's that guile. It's that kind of cat and mouse he plays with his opponents.
More than flat. That's why I prefer two hands. That's because I really like the anticipation. And one hand, you rarely see people, you know, anticipating the ball. That way, you know, Federer could do it a lot, but, you know, Musetti is usually somebody who waits, you know, a bit more before hitting the ball. While, for example, I love a lot when you can anticipate. Of course, Dave. Of course, both players use both. For example, I saw this stat in Rome that Sinner was hitting with way more topspin rather than he usually does. That's because, of course, great players try to adapt their game to, you know, the situation and the surface. I've just, of course, in general. But yeah, I also like a little bit of variety, let's say. So
Well, let's see if Carlos can hold this serve. And
is it
get back to
15 all?
play.
Or you
Yeah, I
played it?
think
No,
so.
15 all.
What I found is Musetti's.
It's good.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, the umpire overruled it. I actually don't have sound, so maybe I made a mistake when I say overrule or something, because I don't hear if there's been the call or.
Anyone else thinking Carlos in a bit of trouble yet? I certainly think Musetti believes he can win this match now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be looking trouble for Alcaraz if he loses this set, but even then,
I mean, it's a situation where I can't say. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Meaning that, of course, he lost a set, so, and Musetti, is not really slowing down as well. So,
well, that's my point. Like, you would think maybe right time now after the break, Alcaraz is going to kind of properly hit back now and see this set up 6-2, and then we'll get back into kind of a bit more kind of competitive edge. But it just seems whatever Musetti's team have done before the match, this is the game plan.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
What have I missed?
It's a really well constructed point from Alcaraz, and then he just sends that final ball long. That was an unforced error, and
I thought I always underestimate Musetti. Yeah, Jane, that's right. What I mean is that there are some players who, with their, let's say, even if their style is not that powerful, but they kind of are able to, avoid yourself to use all your power and be calm on the court. So Musetti is great in that department, and it's not like, of course you have to be able to hit hard and attack, but it's not the only way you win points. So Musetti and Sinner are good friends. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Okay. I got the impression they were quite friendly, but
yes, but normal. Like, I think they are as friendly as, I don't know, Sinner and Alcaraz are against each other. Like, they respect themselves and they smile to each other, and that's it. That's what I think, but maybe I'm wrong.
But they played together with Davis Cup and stuff like that, right? So they must know each other quite well.
That's right. Of course, that creates a bond for sure.
Well, that was in the end. Alcaraz holds, and that was probably important for him. Oh, it's Benoit Paire. I only just noticed Benoit Paire there, just watching on right at the front row.
Well, he's retired. He's retired now, right? Or is he still playing challengers?
Who?
Benoit Paire.
I think he's playing. He's playing, yeah.
Yeah. He's still struggling.
Maybe someone should tell Darten Bolter.
Right, guys, it's just coming up to 3 o'clock, so while these guys change over, I will love you guys and leave yous, but it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure I'll be on the stream with you guys very soon, okay?
Okay.
Enjoy the Scotland match.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Cheers, me too. See you later.
See you.
Hello. Bye-bye. Okay, so Musetti is serving well, gotta say. He's serving really well so far today.
Do you think that Musetti maybe needs to win this set to win the match?
Look, for sure it would be better. But at the same time, Yeah, it also depends on how. Um, yeah, for sure. If Alcaraz win the second set, then I will start liking his chances more and more. But I don't want to count Lorenzo out. I mean, for what we've seen so far, he's playing quite well. He's, troubling Alcaraz. Alcaraz is also troubling Musetti. I mean, even if, he lost the first set. So I just see a very competitive match where there's something, especially Carlos can do a bit better at times, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think
I don't see Musetti as somebody like the previous opponents he played. I see Musetti as somebody with a higher level of confidence. The results he's reached, I think even if he loses a set, he still can, try to like his, his possibilities.
I think though Musetti is playing well enough that if he was to go 2 sets up, it's looking pretty bleak for Alcaraz. If Alcaraz does win this set though, like Sean says in the comments, he might have a jump in confidence and hit he might start peaking. But also at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised if it went, to 5 sets, and then if it goes 5 sets, who knows what happens.
I understand about Carlos, the thing you say about confidence, start peaking. At the same time, I still think it also depends on how well Musetti plays. I still think, in this particular tournament, in these conditions, with the confidence he has built, I don't like to, underestimate the results he got in the last period. I think it's important when you consider it. And even points like this one, it gives me confidence that Musetti is able to survive in even a period, a moment of the match where things don't go his way. So at this point, I really think it's maybe closer than we thought at the beginning.
Yeah, it's been competitive, and that was a nice point there again for Musetti to win and hold. And so actually, I mean, this also will be a crucial game because obviously if he does break, he can serve out the second set. So, yeah, it's pressure.
He needs to, in the first set, I think we are in the same situation actually because 6-4, so Musetti has served first in both sets. So, he needs to of course try to defend his serve as well as he can, and then an opportunity may come, I think the most important thing is to be able to accept that your opponent can play a great, a great game, a great point. For example, Musetti got broken first in this set, but, Alcaraz also led him back a little bit in that game. He got broken back, but still Lorenzo was great in, just staying calm and accepting. You have to accept that your opponent can do something great and break you and in a couple of games in a row.
Yeah, and it's not really a hold until you. Sorry, what?
Yeah, go. No, I mean, I only think that Carlos needs to find more first serves.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem to be creeping up a little bit, but he needs to get more for sure.
Because even though he's defending his second serve pretty well, as you saw in the 4-5 game in the first set, then when pressure rises, it's always better, of course, to play with your first serve, and I think he has to get a little bit more from this.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously getting the first serve, and you can play the 1-2, and I think it helps you build confidence. But if you're going into every service game not really serving that well, it kind of affects the rest of your game as well, because you feel that pressure a bit more. So yeah, you could do with getting a few more. There's another drop shot there. Again, not well executed. There's been a few of those in the match, right?
Yeah, he doesn't really make the difference with this. I think he played a couple also pretty well. I mean, this shot, it wasn't that easy as it seems to go with the top spin, because Lorenzo managed to keep the ball pretty this is good, pretty low. So I understand the choice. At 30-all.
And at 30-all, yeah, this is very crucial. And I think Alcaraz really does need to win this set. I mean, I think, because if he doesn't, he's just not been troubling Musetti enough to. Musetti's been
I get what
solid
you mean.
enough.
Yeah. Of course, going down 2-0 against somebody who plays as well as Lorenzo on clay, it's not easy, for sure. It puts yourself in a very, very uncomfortable situation.
And there we go. The first serve, and then finished off with the forehand. That's what he needed, and a big vamos there from Alcaraz.
I mean, first serve, helps you. Even if it's not about aces or everything, it still helps you a lot. I don't know, talking about what they've said, they don't hold as considerably as they should. I mean, Alcaraz has held quite a lot. At the end, he has got broken twice in 2 sets on clay, which is not as, it's not bad. I think Musetti has played really well. Probably it's been more about a moment, meaning that, Carlos, of course, broke first in this second set, but then, Musetti broke back immediately. And so basically the break has been kind of ineffective. Let's see. For me, it really seems just pretty tight at this point.
Yeah. And
Musetti is just serving so well. I gotta say, yeah. I'm amazed. I gotta admit.
I think this looks like it's going to maybe go to a tie break. That's what I'm getting the feeling.
Like, I understand that we tend to focus on, of course, always kind of the most established player, but we also gotta admit that Musetti conceded 2 break points and just served incredibly well to save those break points, and he's serving very well. He plays like every 4 points, he plays 3 with the first serve and only 1 with the second. So it's not easy for Carlos.
And again, that was a really well played point there, really nicely constructed for Musetti.
Like, at least today, as well as Carlos could have done something a little bit better, I think there's a lot of credit to be done to Musetti, who's playing a great match. He's playing miles better than in Rome, for example. Oh, this is out. Okay. I mean, if he made this one as well, I would have closed the stream. I want to ask you a question. What's for you? I know that this is a surface that suits Musetti well, but in general, I think it's really you know, for example, I would be surprised if it really drops a lot his level on other surfaces from what I'm seeing from him this year on the clay. What do you think he has improved more?
So what's your question? What does he need to
What do you
improve?
think he has improved more, both, you know, technically, tactically, mentally, psychologically, you know, what's the area, you know, you think is made the biggest jump?
Not sure what I could say is like the biggest jump, but I mean, I think he's been able to hit the ball a bit bigger as well, I think. But I think also it's more of all round and probably mentally as well. I think being able to
This
do
is a
that
great
consistently.
serve. Probably the serve. I mean,
Yeah.
he's serving so well. Like this second serve was amazing.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can carry this on to, you know, grass season. Obviously, he did well at Wimbledon last year, right? And
yeah, Queens, the final. He reached the final in Queens Club.
And having that serve's going to help him.
Okay, deuce.
Yeah, so key moments here. Yeah, deuce. Well, this will be a test of his mental strength here. Oh, that's gone out.
Okay, let's see the second serve.
That was well done because he was sort of on the back foot with that one hander, the backhand, and then he placed it quite well, and the error came from Musetti. So
yeah, he's been great because, you know, he kind of exploited Alcaraz's, you know, position. Alcaraz was very close to the baseline, so he found himself not in the best possible position to hit that forehand well.
Yeah, just really nicely placed. I mean, he's been doing it well. I mean, his backhand is. Oh. Yeah, okay, and then we're back to juice.
Yeah, level is very high now. At least in my opinion. You know, Alcaraz played very well in this point, and yet he probably hit the winner one shot later than against most player he would do. So, really great point.
Oh, the drop shot. Oh, and we have a break point for Carlos Alcaraz. Yeah, I did think it was a little bit too heavy, that one, and yeah. Well, let's see if, I mean, you could do one of those good serves, Musetti, right now.
Yeah. Let's see, good. Big point.
Was a good one.
Ooh.
And that was disappointing from Alcaraz.
A little bit, meaning that, of course, Musetti, you know, find the first serve, played well this point, but yeah, you gotta, you know, keep putting the pressure on. So yeah, that's been, you know, an avoidable mistake in this moment. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
On the line. So another break point.
Yeah. Deep return. Tricky. Yeah, huge moment, I think. I mean, this is...
Well, of course, because, you know, if Alcaraz breaks, of course, he goes to serve for the set. But if he doesn't break, then he finds himself serving in a very uncomfortable situation. So, you know...
Oh, great serve. He's going to finish it off? Yes, he does.
Very good. Serving so well today.
Made me a little bit nervous.
This is being a huge deal today. Musetti's serve being, you know, really spot on.
And I find myself kind of rooting for Musetti here. Just as the underdog, you know?
Yeah,
Although
it's fine. I don't worry.
As a neutral as well, I would like to see Alcaraz versus Sinner in that final, but, you know.
You know, I just think every storyline has good potential. So, you know, for me, it's the same. Musetti wins, fine. Alcaraz wins, fine. You know. Djokovic wins, fine. Sinner wins, fine. I don't have a clear preference. Okay, game point now for Lorenzo. I mean, of course, I also get your point because you see like how good of a performance Lorenzo is putting on the court. So you think, you know, right now, if I think about a player who, in my opinion, is deserving a little bit more, probably Musetti, you know, for the way he's, you know, approaching this match. You know, he's serving so well, playing with, you know, he's putting on a fearless performance. So no, Ghosty, I don't know. I'm fine with both, with all four. I don't have a clear, you know.
Oh, that was well done from... Yeah.
What a point and really... what a hold. What a hold. I'll pretend to not have understood what Lorenzo said.
What was it? You could translate.
I mean, he usually curses a lot.
Okay. But it was a positive thing, right? So he was saying yes, essentially.
More or less.
Okay.
More or less.
But I mean, I
you know, the meaning was that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Sinner is bad for society. I don't know. I'm a bit like him. I think. I don't know.
Ghosty's yeah, I know what he's gonna say, but like I've been impressed with Musetti. Just like obviously this was a tough game to come through, but generally mentally he's been good, I think, and he hasn't looked. He's been in there the whole time, so it's big pressure now for Alcaraz.
For sure, 4-5. I mean, in the first set, that's where the set got decided. So we'll see. I mean, especially after a game where you had your chances to break, it's of course not very easy. Let's see. Musetti in the first set was great in, you know, playing a great first point, hitting a great winner, and putting pressure on Carlos. So, for example, here Carlos starts well, and so this probably can look a bit different.
I see. Obviously, Alcaraz, his coach is Ferrero. He has his Ferrero tennis academy. Who are the other? Do you know other players come through his academy on the tour?
Well, I mean, for example, Sinner grew up in an academy. His first coach, Riccardo Piatti, was the
Piatti.
You know, but then it changed, of course. While Alcaraz is still, you know, sticking with him.
I guess I was talking specifically about Carlos, Juan Carlos Ferrero's academy.
Yeah.
Not, I
Where
don't really
you mean?
know.
Where in
You know,
the?
Ferrero. No, I know where it is, but I'm just wondering if there's other players who have come through his academy.
That academy, that same academy. Well, I don't really know. You know, somebody who used to train there with him is Karen Busta, for example.
All right.
Samuel Lopez was his coach, and now this year he's Alcaraz, let's say, second coach. So yeah, I don't know another example actually. So this is the only thing I'm able to tell you.
Yeah.
40 love, by the way. So Carlos is handling this game pretty well. You know, the serve has helped him in this game.
Yeah, he's improving in the serve. Definitely helped him overall. Oh, good return from Musetti. Oh, so Alcaraz going big there, goes long, but
it's fine.
Yeah, still 40-15.
Used to train with Stefano Battaglino.
Oh, just long that return. So to 5-all, and maybe we will get. Well, we've got 2 games to go, but before we go to a tiebreak, but still feeling very close.
I mean, we're not that far. Let's see now how they both do.
I know one player that's at the Piatti training center is a young Indian player, 17-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Manas Damne. So, I mean, obviously, India's not had many players, on the singles, right? So, perhaps, he'll be on the tour in a few years.
Absolutely, he's a great prospect. Yeah. Let's see. Alcaraz trying to put pressure.
But Musetti's serving still being consistent throughout, so you got good. So high chance he'll be able to come through this one unscathed. Although it will be another second serve, and Alcaraz is waiting there to pounce. And it is love 30, so we do have a bit of pressure here.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens, because we see second serve points won there, 45% in this second set for Musetti. And it was, what was it, about 60 for Alcaraz? So, yeah, important for him to get the first serve in, obviously, for Musetti, but 15-30.
Yeah, here,
still.
for example, you saw why, even if he didn't get, directly the point, he still made Alcaraz playing on the back foot. So.
Wow.
Ace. 30 all.
205 kilometers out wide.
Second ace for Musetti, one for Alcaraz. And actually it came on the second serve, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, big point. What happened? Okay, nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was, but good serve. Yeah, that was nicely done by Alcaraz. He took control there, and that little short backhand that was very difficult. So yeah, 30-40, another break point. We've seen this before, though. Can Alcaraz finally take it?
Yeah, that's the biggest question, of course.
But
great return.
Oh, yeah, and that's nicely done by Alcaraz. He says a big vamos, and he gets that break, and he will serve for the second set. So
yeah,
maybe
let's say that it never happened that, you know, Musetti, of course, broke when he could have won the set, and that's it. So he didn't need to hold. Carlos broke first in the first set, in the second set, and didn't manage to hold. So of course, let's see. If he will do it right now, it's gonna be very, very important, of course.
Yeah, but his serving has improved. I mean, earlier on he was struggling. So
yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, of course, added pressure here, but yeah, let's see. Because, Musetti has been quite impressive, actually, in terms of how close he's kept it, and he's been creating pressure as well. So on the Alcaraz serve, so it's not over yet in this second set. Oh, and there is the legend, Guga. Guga Kuerten.
Three-time champion. Okay. This moment feels pretty important. Let's see if Alcaraz will be able to level the match.
Well, he's another miss first serve. Second serve it is. Yeah, seems the timing a bit wrong there for Musetti on that forehand, but obviously into the net.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, especially because Musetti is not really used to probably do this type of thing that much, but it was the right thing to do. So, if I'm Lorenzo, I wouldn't be like, as I said before, it's all about accepting, for both players actually, that the opponent may play well for a part of the match, and you have to keep fighting.
That was another interesting point there. And Musetti comes out on top.
Yeah, and that was just great for Musetti. Of course, Alcaraz shined last ball, but yeah, it was just an exhausting rally, and both did more or less good. Even for example, Lorenzo's smash was very difficult. Great for him to just put it on the court and not missed it. So yeah, this was wide.
Wow. Double fault.
Okay, double fault. Okay, now I'm 5 seconds behind. but it's fine. Okay, 15-30. Another huge point coming up. It feels like we've had many in the last 15 minutes or so.
Oh, he just got a first serve, but it was fairly well returned. And we're in the rally.
Ooh.
Oh, that is tremendous from Lorenzo Musetti, finding a beautiful angle on the backhand.
And 15-40. Wow, it's been a weird rally because I think both have hit a couple of shots, not as well as they could. But yeah, the last one was amazing. Great angle. So 15-40, 2 break points. Let's see if there will be another exchange of break as we have seen it at the beginning of this second set. There are 2 chances. There is a second serve here for Musetti. I mean, for Alcaraz, but yeah, for Musetti to try doing something. I've seen you. Oh, this is good.
It's out. And we are going to go to...
Yeah, it's out.
Tie-break.
Tie-break it is.
Well, as I predict.
I thought this time Alcaraz would have held serve, I gotta be honest. But yeah, I mean, in the end, it's been a very competitive set.
He didn't find enough first serves, and obviously it was a double fault as well. And I mean, I'm impressed with Musetti, just like, because I feel like, you know, it doesn't surprise me that much that he broke back. He's been very calm and he's played the much more, I would say, in this match, like the much more controlled tennis, and he's impressed me in terms of how he's been playing.
Yeah, he's been playing great. That's for sure. Oh, net. This would have been an ace, I think.
Well, yeah, first point to Alcaraz. And I wonder, what is Alcaraz's tie-break record?
I'm watching at the phone, so I cannot help you. I mean, in this tournament, Musetti hasn't played any. Alcaraz played one and won it against Shelton.
Yeah. And against Shelton, it's sort of it's a bit different, but
yeah, even though, I mean, I feel like when it's, you know, I think it can be both more difficult but also easier. Like if you just need, for example, one double fault for your opponent and you got a lead. So, oh, this is good.
And that was, yeah, big injection of pace on the backhand from Alcaraz. Yeah, I mean, it's much more crucial for sure, I think, Alcaraz, obviously, to win this. Of course, he won a tiebreak against Sinner at the final in Rome. Alcaraz.
Yeah.
And against Musetti as well in the semi-final.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, for these players, it's usually positive. I mean, even Sinner has a very positive tiebreak record.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
3-0. So let's see. Musetti now has 2 serves. It's important for him to win these points.
Yeah, so let's see if Musetti can come up with the goods here at this crucial moment. He does, though, send that first serve long, so it will be a second serve. But it's enough.
I don't know if it. I mean, of course, it was a good idea, but at the same time, you know, probably a point where just putting, I don't know, the pressure on Musetti was very high, so probably.
Yeah. And yeah, that was
for one.
The backhand there from Musetti was something that we've not seen that much, you know, but that kind of error. So
Yeah, I thought it wasn't necessary. That's just, I mean, then if it's good, great, fantastic shot. But yeah, you get what I mean. I'm all for waiting one more shot before attacking.
Oh!
Oh!
Yeah. The net helping out Alcaraz this time. I mean, yeah. Deft. And at this point, you have to say it looks like it's going to Alcaraz. I think the question is, though, is if Alcaraz does win this set, can he actually, you know, is his level going to increase now?
I'm waiting a little bit. I don't think his level has been bad this match. Yeah, I mean, there's been moments where he could have done a little bit more, but you know, it's not like he's playing bad. You know, there's a great opponent on the other side who's doing very good things as well. So
wow. I thought that second serve might have gone out, but that it looked like it was perfect. And so yeah, 5 set points here.
yeah, I agree with Dave. Like, I like aggression, but at the same time, I don't like when it's some sort of exaggerated. Meaning that at times I feel like in some moments of the match, you can, you know, put more pressure on your opponent if you are a little bit less aggressive, probably. Of course, still hitting with good pace and being, you know.
Superb serve there. Wow. So at least.
Well, at least he held 2 points. So. Now Carlos is serving, let's say, for a set.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty nicely done from Alcaraz, and he gets second set.
Is the Sinner match on directly after this, or there is a break? It depends. Sinner match is not before 7 p.m. local time. So if, let's say, the match finishes at like 6 p.m. local time, there will be an hour break. If it finishes later than 7, and then the break will be very, very short. That's the answer.
Yeah, and that was, I
No,
think, in
don't
that
get me
last
wrong.
one.
I love best of 5, but at the same time, how good would it be to see now a set to decide it all?
Maybe, but we get that in the 5th set though. But yeah.
Yeah, okay, but you know.
My other idea was that to like, because it's an alternative to a 5 sets would be just to play a tie break.
No, I'm not really like that. For me, it's more like right now it's one set all, you know? Imagine Alcaraz wins 2-2 the next 2 sets. It's easier psychological wise to start the 3rd set now. No, I'm not an advocate for best of 3, but it depends. For example, I would love to see something like Keys in a men's Grand Slam. But at the same time, I think like with best of 5, it's not possible.
Do you have any thoughts about tomorrow's final, the women's final?
I think it will depend a lot on the serve return dynamic. Sabalenka is better than Gauff in that. So if she manages to, to make that count, and she will be the favorite. At the same time, if Gauff is able to, neutralize it, and then probably she becomes the favorite in the matchup, probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking on clay. It's like maybe Gauff does have the ability to sort of frustrate Sabalenka a bit, but it's going to be difficult.
I don't think surface is as big of a thing because, Gauff is able to defend incredibly well, even on faster courts. So I think the matchup dynamic still kind of remains the same, I don't know. I think like Gauff has a real shot at this for sure. At the same time, Sabalenka, having got through her difficult draw, she's already beaten Anisimova, then Qingwen, then Iga, which played great tennis for the first 2 sets. I think this can also give her lots of confidence going into the match. So, kind of a coin toss, probably.
Yeah, I think it's got potential to be a good final for sure. So
everything can happen. Both have been playing incredible tennis in this clay season. Sabalenka even longer than that, but if I am going to make a prediction right now, it's just going to be about my personal feelings. But reasonably, both things can happen. I see it as a very more or less 50-50. Probably a little bit more Sabalenka just because of, having been able to solve a lot of issues so far. Sinner is watching. Toilet break for me.
All right. Well, that was so we had Alcaraz with a very quick hold to start the third set, which hadn't happened too much in this match so far, and that first point in this Musetti service game from Alcaraz going very aggressive. So, like we said before, he can hit these waves where he's unplayable. Maybe we're starting to get there, but that was a nice point there from Musetti. Yeah, finishing with the forehand winner cross court.
Okay.
Yeah, and Alcaraz does have a bit. He looks to have a bit more of a spring in his step, but good point here. Oh. Well, Alcaraz does come out on top.
No, you know what? About the best of, 3 and 5. Of course, best of 5 is epic, but I tend to enjoy it more in the first week. Like we see many, for example, 4-set matches, which are, become less competitive in, for example, the fourth and even the third set. So I don't know. I mean, it's good, best of 5, of course. That's what Grand Slam tennis is about. Break points for Alcaraz. Let's see if Musetti is able to somehow, stop this moment. Because it feels this is the moment. So if Musetti is somehow able to, to stay close, and then but if Alcaraz just, escapes, then it's going to be difficult.
Oh. Well, that was an interesting point there. I thought Alcaraz was going to win it, but nope.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that easy.
No, it wasn't
easy.
I
know we are, used to a lot of magic from Carlos, but it wasn't really easy. He runs so much in this point. So, it's.
I think it must be scary to be on the other side of the net when you see Alcaraz running about like that and making every ball. Oh. And that's it. So
Okay, so for the third time in the last 2 sets, Alcaraz goes up a break. Now let's see. It will be, of course, important for him to hold this time.
Yeah, true. Because last 2 times he did go up a break, he was immediately broken back by Musetti. So
yeah. They're trying to take it away.
I do think I'm not sure they'll take away 5 sets.
Thing is that I hate when they make, first week best of 3, second week best of 5. For me, it's a big no. At this point, everything best of 3. For me, best of 5 is really magic in the first week. That's where the best of 5 is the more magic for me. So for me, it has to stay whole tournament. If you take it away from the first week, then for me, you can even take it away even from the second at this point.
Well, I mean, if there was no best of 5, though, I mean, a lot of things wouldn't happen, right? So Sinner's first Australian Open wouldn't have happened because he came from 2 sets down, and I mean you're going to lose that. I mean that obviously as well at Rafa's famous Australian Open final against Medvedev as well. Oh. Yeah. Some anger in that forehand, but it was well executed from Musetti, that winner. I'm sure that felt very satisfying. Yeah, best of 5. They're not going to get rid of it because people enjoy that too much. I think there's too much support.
At the end of the day, there has never been a real discussion about it. So and that's what I'd love to, Jane.
Do you think though it would? What if they had like, let's say the women's final tomorrow was best of 5? Do you think that would change the dynamic?
Not really. They're ready to play a lot. So, I mean, it can change, meaning that, you know, Goff can be 2 sets up and Sabalenka win in 5. And so probably you would say, but, you know, if we think about who of the 2 players, you know, I think both are in, you know, fine enough to play 5 sets.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break as well here. Good point to do
sure.
it.
So 3-0. Iga Sabalenka would have been interesting. Probably yes, because, you know, of course, the deciding set has been underwhelming, you know, to watch. So probably if there could have been more, you know, you may think, okay, Iga could have tried to reset. And so, yeah, why not? 3-0, Musetti serving. A very important game for him. Especially, you know, both for the scoring itself, but also to kind of stop the moment, given that Carlos is riding the wave right now. Double fault. This is a tough moment now. At the end of the day, you know, for sure it feels like, you know, now momentum is all for Carlos. At the end of the day, I try what's like in mind for many players. I know it's mostly like playing the next point. Sorry, it was like, you know, love 40. You know, momentum is all we Carlos now. Can you at time, you know, if it gets broken, like, what was this? Okay.
That was a bit wild, yeah, but he's obviously pumped up right now. He's in the groove, so but he's getting a little bit carried away, and that was very Carlos, actually. Yeah, it seems now that, I mean, certainly if he takes this game, he's probably taking this set. So it's hard to see past Alcaraz now, but and yeah, so he does take that break, and
I mean, it's not
suddenly,
that bad. Meaning that, yeah, I know if you keep holding, you can hope, but at the same time, you know, Alcaraz will win this set, and then who knows? You know, Alcaraz, of course, now the big favorite, but a little drop can still kind of happen.
Has a player ever played with who was able to switch between a single-hander and a double-hander?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure why
You know, I
do
don't
that
remember
anyway.
any, at least. But I don't think.
There wouldn't be much reason to do it.
I get what they want to say, but yeah, I also don't believe it, Dave. But
yeah, you shouldn't give up on sets, but sometimes, although essentially
like here, for example, like, I don't know.
I think, isn't that what what's his face, Lerner when he beat Medvedev, he kind of admitted to like tanking one of the sets.
Me and Ghosty are completely on a different opinion on that.
What was it?
The last comment. I'm sorry. I need change. Like, I would prefer, you know, for example, like, imagine the slams ends in the same exact way as in 24. I wouldn't like it. Let's change a little bit.
It will be a change anyway if Carlos is playing Sinner in the final, then
No, Ghosty, on the doping thing, we disagree.
All right.
I just think all the top players are protected without any difference between them.
Well, yeah, 5-love here for Alcaraz against Musetti. Yes. Great competitors don't give up. They embrace the genius of the scoring system. Yeah, the scoring
Not
system.
the trainer. Oh my God.
He's touching his thigh there. So
I don't know. I think it is already allowed, kind so.
Is there a way back here for Musetti? It feels difficult to see it now, especially if he's injured, if he's actually struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's no match anymore.
17 minutes. And the first two sets were pretty long. And it's already 5-love, 17 minutes gone in this third set. Not sure what the Pope's got to do with it. Oh, no.
I don't know. I think it's just cool to call for an establishment right now. So calling for Gramsci, I don't know.
Just a
I think
blanket
it would be weird. Like,
okay.
I think we had left communism in the previous century. Whatever. We don't have to agree on anything, on everything.
Yeah, let's see if Musetti can get one on the board. Let's say, like, if even Musetti doesn't win this set, if he can sort of, if he manages to break back, let's say, with Alcaraz serving for the third set, it may create a little bit of doubt for Alcaraz going forward. So let's just see what can happen.
Times it's also important how you finish a set. You know, even if it's not in doubt, the thing is, you know, it's just important to understand, you know, if the physical issue is really a big of a deal, just then to, you know, project ourselves to what can happen next. Because of course, you know, it's the main thing of any tennis player. So especially in a matchup like this against Carlos, you know, he needs to be 100%. And, you know, right now, I mean, it's tough to see. It doesn't really seem, but then I don't know, maybe, you know, it's not as important. So probably just him calling. So 15-40.
Yeah, I think Musetti is, you know, he's looked anxious in this set, let's put it that way, and he hadn't before. And yeah, that, I mean, actually, he looked like he was having the problem with his leg there again.
Yeah.
So the bagel, yeah, well, you can just say I didn't really get bageled. It was just because I was injured.
Well, yeah, it's not even about the bageling itself, you know. Do you like the thing when they say, you know, that the player, you know, now I'm not talking about this case in general, like when there is a player which is, you know, like injured, but still finishes the match, even if he cannot like run properly and just gets, for example, buggled. And they say, you know, due to respect, because I kind of disagree in that. I mean, if you're unable, it's, you know, just call it a match. If you really are, of course, unable, if it's real, the problem. I don't know. I have, you know, contrasting feelings about it, but at times I feel like there's no point. Like, I'm not talking about this case in particular, in general.
I mean, the weather doesn't look too bad. I don't know why they closed the roof, right? It seems weird to me. You know, why they play under the roof? What? Strange. I can't believe that the players would prefer that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Unless it was like raining until like 10 minutes before the match, and then
Well, it's a bit less likely to happen if we're talking about sports players playing when they're injured. It's less likely to happen, obviously, like in a team sport like football. Obviously, you can get substituted off. There's no reason to risk that.
absolutely.
But yeah, you're on your own here. You're maybe gonna risk it, and then you're maybe gonna think, well, it's maybe 3 weeks before my next tournament or something. So you're thinking, well, let's try and play through this, but it's maybe not always advisable.
I don't know. I think we have a wrong idea about sacrificing my body for the sport. I think it's exaggerated at times. If I'm unable to keep committed, then I should stop, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, what is this? Why are we even like... One thing is if you're like, a small issue and you can really play on it, meaning that your performance drops only like 10-20%, but you still, play more or less. But at times we see weird situations where the player can barely run and still keeps playing, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's not fun for anyone.
Yeah. Like, he's not running.
Yeah. But you think here, I don't know if Musetti's quite at that stage yet, but maybe. But the problem with Musetti is like it looked like it was affecting his serving, right? His thigh issue. And if that's the case, then it becomes just difficult to even imagine him coming back.
Well, Djokovic pulled it off, of course, but it wasn't something that, didn't let him to get to balls or something. He could still stay in the rally and, and play his game, even if, at a lower level. But
out. Okay, so 30 love for Musetti here.
Yeah,
the wrist, on the board.
The wrist helped him.
Oh, that's a good drop shot, but Alcaraz does get there, and yeah, Musetti found it difficult to stretch for that ball.
Yeah, because it was good, but it wasn't the best thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the pace of Alcaraz as well. Oh. Yeah, I'm quite annoyed that the second match is going to be on so late here, because I would like to watch it, but I don't think I will. I need to sleep.
You know what? I was better a few years ago. Now I've stopped staying up at night. I don't do it anymore. For example, I never watched the second semi at the US Open.
Right.
Because, I need to have a good sleep in order for my mood to be okay during the day. Like,
yeah. Wow. Okay. I think Musetti's gonna.
Yeah, he's retiring.
What a shame. But Alcaraz is. I mean, you have to feel for Musetti because obviously he started so well.
I mean, it doesn't even depend on the result. You gotta feel just because the occasion is huge and you never want to finish this way. So,
Yeah. But I felt like, obviously if he wasn't injured, he would have had a chance to make this a competitive, exciting match to the end, and even if it finished in 4 sets. But this is
anticlimactic way. I mean, I don't know really what to say. Of course, biggest title is of course Alcaraz in the final once again after last year. 5th career Grand Slam final, 4 titles out of 4 so far. Both him and Yang has never lost a Grand Slam final. So, for example, if they face each other, one of them will have a first time in their career. When did the injury occur? Actually, I gotta admit that I haven't seen the clear moment where it happened. But it seemed like muscular, if I got it, from what I could perceive. And Musetti just, let's say that it occurred, at least from what I've seen, it started really bothering Lorenzo at the end of the 3rd set.
Right.
From what it was like, perceivable. And just he wasn't running anymore. So, I kind of agree with.
It was maybe somewhere in the middle of the 3rd set, but then on that break at like 5-love, wasn't it, that he was getting treatment for it in the 3rd set, right? But it's obviously a shame, but these things happen, and Alcaraz is into another Roland Garros final, and well, that sort of works out nicely for him. He's not overworked. He didn't go to 5 sets. I mean, that could have been possible. And the final is, well, we'll see what happens. Obviously, Sinner and Djokovic still to play.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be that surprising if that was a long one. On the other hand, I could also see that was that Sinner could dominate, the matchup. So
I don't know. I still think if the final is also with Roof, does it favor Carlos' opponent? Look, I think we do a lot of mental gymnastics about Roof closed, Roof open. I mean,
maybe a bit, but but
in the end, I mean, I really struggled then at the end of the match, like taking that into account for the reason why a result has happened,
I think, maybe his opponent needs that a little bit more, but from Carlos' point of view, I think it's still clay. It's still, he's he's still, I don't think it makes too much difference from his point of view. So I think it's not a massive factor, but I just don't really like it when the roof is closed in general, though. The atmosphere.
I mean, I like it because I know there's not going to be like,
Yeah, of course.
Nothing interferes with the match. But I mean, it's this is not meant to be indoors, so whatever happens. I just think when the players are this good, I don't know, it makes a little bit probably of a difference. But I actually didn't even know the forecast, so I think we are talking about it a little bit too early. But yeah, probably let's say a little bit. It's my definite answer.
Can we take much from this in terms of Alcaraz's performance going into the final? I can only really say like the first two sets were competitive, and obviously banana skin for him because he maybe could have gone down like 2 sets down, but I think he managed to play pretty well when he had to, and he found a good level and took his opportunity that allowed him to take that second set. So I suppose that bodes well.
Yeah, I think I can definitely see him winning, but at the same time, I can see the eventual opponent to have his chances. So,
yeah,
it's still quite good performance, meaning that the second set, how he won it, he started playing really well at the end of the second set, and that was great because at the end, for winning a match, you needed to play well in the important points. So this is definitely a good sign. Overall, even when he was not up in the score, I still think it's not that he was playing bad. If I gonna answer who's more difficult for Carlos, honestly, I still think that Jannik is more difficult. Even though Novak would be difficult as well. Novak has won matches against Carlos lately, so we know about it. But, I don't think that just saying the truth is counting Novak out. Nobody is counting him out, but, at this stage of his career, he's a little bit underdog against both of these players.
Yeah, we have to take into account, though, as well, I suppose. Yeah, I think you would have to make Carlos the favourite against Djokovic if they were to play in the final. But, of course, the last time they played at Roland Garros, it was Djokovic who won, right, at the Olympics. Only 2 sets, but I think there's an element of motivation that allowed him to come through. He really wanted that one. And obviously, I think that's similar here now. And Djokovic is sort of at the end of his career. Every chance. If he's in a final, he's going to be so motivated. So we have to and he's a great champion for it because he knows how to play these big matches and so on. So having said that, to get through Jannik and Carlos would be an insane, difficult path for him. So, yeah, I think Jannik and Carlos in the final seems most likely, and I think that's what we're going to get.
Producer here. It's fine. It's been a good pleasure for me here with you talking about this match. Of course, I was hoping for a better ending, meaning, with both players, any of those players just winning the match point, but it is what it is. It's been a very, very good match for the first 2 hours. So let's see now what happens next. Shocking news. One between Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Sinner will win this Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Who would have predicted?
So, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for staying here. I don't know if you want to add anything.
yeah, thanks for tuning in. I mean, I guess, yeah, just a disappointment with the way it ended, but I think we got something to look forward to anyway with Carlos in the final. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thanks everybody. Hit subscribe, and yeah, plenty of content to come. So see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Here we are for this very special encounter at the Bonn Open between Jeffrey Blancano against Damir the Demon Jumur. He's very much demonized thus far, showing a bit of frustration after losing the first set. Anyway, the Frenchman to serve 15-30. Bit of pressure on that Frenchman's shoulders, like a couple of baguettes weighing over him. Needs to take some time. No hurry, he says, at 15-30. He's up a set, 2-all here. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go there down the middle, and that is a shank. One that even Stefanos Tsitsipas would be proud of. Get that towel, mop your brow, return to the baseline where you'll know it's 30-all. Screeches from the other courts. But they don't put this young Frenchman off. Look at him, prowling, brushing, questioning. Maybe they do put him off. He needs to be focused. It's 30-all, 2-all, tens times here at the Bonn Open. Goes out wide with that, comes into the net, does the volley. Does he put it away? No, he doesn't. But he puts that one away, and his opponent, the demon, Damir Jumur, just cannot believe what has happened to him. I'll tell you what's happened. You've been flummoxed, and you've lost the point. We would take another look at it if we had a replay, but we don't. But who knows? You don't even need a replay. It's in our heads. Okay. The Frenchman to serve. I say you're going out wide. You don't. You go down the tee. Clip the net, though. So he's going to get another shot at it. Is he going to take my advice and go out wide on this one? Did so successfully on that last time for a serve and volley, even though he'd messed up the volley. Goes down the tee again, does come into the net, does a little drop shot, and you know what? Jumur is like, I can't even be bothered to run that down. And he's going to clean that line. Look at this, he's cleaning the line because he's so annoyed with some funny bounces.
Ready? Play.
You join us here for the Seville ATP Challenger. Rocco Batalla to serve. What's he going to serve up? Some tapas? A good first serve. Gives him a 40-love lead. This all Spanish affair against Caballas Baena. Not known for his big serving, but that was decent. That was not. Let the tennis do the talking. One-handed backhand clips the net. Bit fortunate there. Drop shot. Oh, you cannot teach that. You cannot teach that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification.
Ready? Play.
19 what?
19th of April, Stuttgart, quarterfinal day, Poland versus Great Britain.
May the best.
But I wonder
I'm
why
gonna play with the winner.
I wonder why the tennis players don't shake their hands before the match.
Only at the end, yeah. But will we be shaking hands in a few minutes? I don't know. So should we just have a little practice?
Yeah.
Just a little practice? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, wow. Silly stuff. You have to, it has to hit the table, okay?
Huh?
He's playing like the Olympics now.
Okay, let's play.
Let's play.
So two sets. Every set is 2-6.
Okay.
One service, so like in tennis.
And you have to win by 2 points?
Yeah.
Yes. And
So, yeah.
if it is 6-6, it's tiebreak.
Okay.
But now we start.
Okay.
It was just like for the entertainment.
Now we start.
So you start.
Ah, scheiße. So 1-1. Ah, scheiße. 2-1 to you. 2-1. There you go down.
Lucky guy.
2-2.
I'm in the double pot, really.
2-2.
So double fault.
Ah, scheiße. This is the worst match since Chikova against Kudermetova. 3-3.
It's the game of mistakes.
3-3. 3-4. 3-5. 5-3.
Guys, really?
5-3.
No, it's very poor level.
6-3. My set.
Emma 6-3?
6-3 Emma, yeah. 1-0.
At the table, no?
No.
No, the red two.
1-1. Oh, that's it.
Maria Cicak counts.
That was very lucky. Yeah. 1-2.
Sorry.
1-2. No problem. Ah, 1-3. 3-1. 1-4.
Ich weiß nicht.
Maybe with a break.
You were not ready.
It's okay. 1-4.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready, Stanislav?
Sorry, wir müssen hier nur ganz schnell aufräumen.
Kein
Das
Problem.
ist wichtig für den Stand.
Okay.
1-4. 1-5.
Nee?
5-1.
5-2. 2-5. Ah, you're set.
Nee, das glaube ich auch nicht.
So 1-4.
So going for the third.
Do we have a third set now?
Yeah.
Ready? Play.
19 what?
19th of April, Stuttgart, quarterfinal day, Poland versus Great Britain.
May the best.
But I wonder
I'm
why
gonna play with the winner.
I wonder why the tennis players don't shake their hands before the match.
Only at the end, yeah. But will we be shaking hands in a few minutes? I don't know. So should we just have a little practice?
Yeah.
Just a little practice? Oh, bloody hell. Oh, wow. Silly stuff. You have to, it has to hit the table, okay?
Huh?
He's playing like the Olympics now.
Okay, let's play.
Let's play.
So two sets. Every set is 2-6.
Okay.
One service, so like in tennis.
And you have to win by 2 points?
Yeah.
Yes. And
So, yeah.
if it is 6-6, it's tiebreak.
Okay.
But now we start.
Okay.
It was just like for the entertainment.
Now we start.
So you start.
Ah, scheiße. So 1-1. Ah, scheiße. 2-1 to you. 2-1. There you go down.
Lucky guy.
2-2.
The double fault.
2-2.
Double fault.
Ah, scheiße. This is the worst match since Chikova against Kudametova. 3-3.
It's the game of mistakes.
3-3. 3-4. 3-5. 5-3.
Guys, really?
5-3.
No, it's very poor level.
6-3. My set.
Emma 6-3?
6-3 Emma, yeah. 1-0.
That's the table, no?
No.
Oh, the red two.
1-1.
Oh,
that's it.
Marina Cicak counts?
That was very lucky. Yeah. 1-2. 1-2. No problem. Ah, 1-3. 3-1. 1-4.
Ich weiß nicht. Leading to the break.
You were not ready.
It's okay, 1-4.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready, Salazar?
Sorry, wir müssen nur ganz tief aufräumen.
Kein
Das
Problem.
ist wichtig für den Stand.
Okay.
1-5.
Domination.
5-1. 5-2. 2-5. Ah, you're set.
Nee, das glaube ich auch nicht.
So 1-4.
So going for the third.
Do we have a third set now?
Yeah. Going for the third. Come on.
Ay, ay, ay. 1-1. 1-1. 2-1. 2-1 Zelislav.
Wow.
2-2. Ay, ay, ay. I can't get the serve right. 3-2. Alright, 3-3. 4-3.
There you go. Koncentracja, Żelek.
3-4. Ah, 4-4. It's close. 5-4. 4-5. Mine. 6-4. Yeah.
But let's play one longer rally for the
Yeah, we
media.
could do one for the camera. For the camera.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Longer one. Let's try longer one.
Moonball. Ah, scheiße.
It was a good serve.
That was a good
Okay,
rally.
you won.
Nice one.
Congratulations.
Why don't you? I want to see you two play. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.